Good morning. How are you today? Are you sore from all the dancing? I heard it was a lot of fun dancing. Excellent. Yesterday was a day filled with ideas, insights, and conversations. And today we're following up with much more talk on policy, how we can turn these collaborations together with policy into impact. And we have a wonderful program ahead of us. So with that said, I'd also like to invite you, just like yesterday, to feed in your questions to the speakers via the QR code. And it's right behind me. So if you haven't downloaded the QR code yet, please do so. And I will be receiving your questions to the speakers in my iPad. So then we co-create today too, I know you're very good at this, co-creation. All right, with that said, I'm going to introduce the first keynote speaker. I'm delighted to have with us here Annika Wepling-Korzeniec. She is head of the European Commission representation in Sweden, based in Stockholm. And Annika works in the intersection of policy, communication, and international cooperation, connecting European priorities with global challenges. So, of course, it's perfect that we have Annika with us here today. So please give her a warm welcome.
Thank you, Katarina, and thank you for inviting me. And I'm really sorry that I missed the dancing last night. That would have been great fun. But I'm happy to be here and with you today. And I think it's great that you create this meeting place to discuss, well, at least I will discuss Europe and the connecting world. Alone is not strong. I think this is something we all know, and it's always been true, but maybe now it's more true than ever. And it's especially true for small countries as the EU member states. And there is a kind of saying that we often, some clever person who we have lost who to us said that EU consists of small states and those who still haven't understood that they are small. Because in the global context, we are all small. But of course, joining the 27 together, we can create something completely different in the global context. And we think that the global challenges that we see today, they really require coordinated and strong international collaboration. So what challenges are we talking about? Yes, well, first and foremost, global challenges that the EU works on are the big ones: to reduce poverty, to ensure continued sustainable development, to promote democracy, rule of law. The values that actually the EU itself is founded on, and that we try to have as our guiding principles. Those are the global challenges, and we all know it. However, these challenges also now reflect some circumstances within the European Union that we have to battle with, and I will come back to how they connect to the global. The first one is the obvious one, is the security situation. The security situation in Europe and the world is becoming increasingly difficult. The global system as we knew it is no more. We have moved into a multipolar, heavily transactional global situation, which is quite different to the one that we hope to move towards, more value-based. And this change is happening rapidly, and the EU needs to change with it. The EU is much more than a tariff-free area. It is a political and legal and economic union. And it's now also increasing its role as a global security actor. Just in this past month, we have seen proof of what it might mean. We have seen the continued war in Ukraine, where now the EU is the largest contributor of aid and support, both civil but also military. We saw it with the Greenland crisis, the insecurities regarding the role of NATO, the role of US in the EU, not only economically with trade, but also as a security garant. and how that has led to the EU countries stepping up to increase their own defense capabilities. And we have seen it lately, I don't dare to say lastly, because I don't think so, with the war in Iran. Secondly, we have the economic competitiveness and innovation challenges, and Europe is still the second largest economy in the world. But with increasing global competition, EU needs to maintain its place in the competitive market. And the absolutely most kind of added value that the EU has is its own single market. 450 million consumers and inhabitants that could prosper from this market. But it needs to remain innovative, competitive, and sustainable for the economy, for the competitiveness, but also for the climate. And we are in the middle of a global technological battle where we battle over strategic raw materials, we battle over control, over value chains, over talent, over AI development. And here the EU really is kind of struggling to know how to keep up. And linked to this, the third challenge is energy. Because energy is what we kind of, it's a bit our lakmus paper, if you remember that from your chemistry. With the continued conflict in Iran, it has just become so obvious how dependent we are on imported fossil fuels. And the rapidly increasing cost that we now see, it's taking its toll on the economy, but also on every household. And it all is linked to our dependency on imported fossil energy. And to add on this, it's estimated that by 2030, which is not far from here, the EU will need around 60% more energy. So we really need to speed up the electrification, and we need to speed up our transfer to fossil-free energy. It's not only for the competitiveness, it's for our security, and of course also for the climate and the sustainability. So let me now turn to how the EU tries to connect these priorities also with the global cooperation, because to reduce global poverty, to support sustainable development, and all these other issues that I was mentioning, the EU has created a kind of program or a system that is called the Global Gateway. And it's a strategy for international development. And it's the EU's hard try to really be a value-driven offer to partner countries to invest in sustainable, high-quality infrastructure. It's a 300 billion euro strategy from 2021 to 2027, so it's about to kind of fill this 300 billion euros. And with the aim then to boost smart, clean, secure infrastructure, but not only in infrastructure as in roads, but also in digital, in energy and health, education, research. And it's also an idea of a geopolitical tool to offer an alternative to what we think are rather non-transparent and coercive investment models such as the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative. And we work in what we call Team Europe, which means that we pool together resources from the EU budget, but also from the member states' budgets, from private investors, from financial institutions such as the European Investment Bank. But the idea is also that it should serve local ownership, since the projects should be co-designed with partner countries. There are, for example, projects like renewable energy projects in sub-Saharan Africa, such as in Namibia, where they're focusing on producing sustainable hydrogen. We have Indo-Pacific projects with undersea cables to facilitate digitalization and digital connectivity, and rail and road corridors with the Western Balkans starting to pave the way for European integration. Another tool that I think you are all very well aware of, but we sometimes forget it because we think it's only economic tool. It's trade. And it's maybe one of the strongest tools that the EU has in its toolbox for global cooperation. And we have seen, last years, one crisis after the other. We have had the pandemic, we have the ongoing war in Ukraine, we have the energy crisis, we have the war in Iran, and it has really, really showed to Europe and to the EU that we have to get rid of being too dependent on one supplier, on one source. Because as you all know, an unhealthy partnership can lead to severe problems. And for example, one single grounded ship in the Suez Canal can disturb trade worth billions of euros. One export ban from China on semiconductors can shut down the whole European tech industry in a night, overnight. And the most recent that you all, of course, know about is the closing of the Hormuz Strait. And from the closing until now, the EU member states have spent an additional 30 billion euros on the fossil fuel imports without any additional supply, of course. So to combat these dependencies, yes, we can do, as I said before, we should move away from certain of these products that we can do away with, but we can also diversify our supply. And this is where the trade agreements come in. The most recent is, of course, the EU-India trade agreement that I think you all heard of, or as the President von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission, called it, the mother of all deals. India has the largest growing population and the fastest growing economy with 1.5 billion inhabitants and a GDP that stands for 25% more or less of the global GDP. And here, this week, Prime Minister Modi from India was in Sweden, in Gothenburg, meeting Prime Minister Kristersson of Sweden and the EU, the Commission's President von der Leyen. And what was the topic? Of course, trade. And it was about how to have a better partnership to be able to withhold this kind of the volatilities on markets. And the decision has been to abolish 90% of the tariffs between the two regions. And next step is to look at investment agreements. But trade is only one part, and I think this is also important. Yes, we talk about figures here and there, but trade is also about building confidence, building a stable relationship that you can also dare to do other things. Like now, India and the EU is talking about a security and defense partnership. So trade is also kind of a vehicle to move into better integrated regions. Another great example is the EU-Mercosur trade agreement between EU and several South American states, where we can see the same kind of movement. And just today, actually, von der Leyen is going to Mexico to try, hopefully, close a deal with Mexico. And the negotiations are ongoing with Australia, with Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines, United Arab Emirates, etc., etc. And yes, we wish that we didn't have to do this. We wish for WTO, where we just have multilateral agreements and we don't have to do all this bilateral back and forth. But the world doesn't look like that for the moment. So this is the best we can do to work on these bilateral agreements. And finally, which is rarely mentioned when we talk about global cooperation, but I think it's crucial, it's the Horizon Europe. It's the largest research program in the world that the EU has. And it's funding program for international research and innovation. And by facilitating these partnerships, that is not only the EU, but much larger than that, again, we can find new ways and new solutions of also tackling global challenges. So rounding off or summarizing, the EU, we address global challenges through initiatives such as the Global Gateway to boost clean and secure infrastructure, but also to promote the values that we think are important. Secondly, we increase international partnership by laying foundations for trade, as I've mentioned, like India and the EU agreement. But thirdly, we ensure that these trade agreements also trickle down to some other effects, to joining communities. And fourthly, we support worldwide research and innovation, because we really believe that especially in the situation we are in now, where sometimes research is questioned and sometimes we don't know what's true or not, it's extremely important that we have a global trust in research programs and innovation. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Annika. And we have time for questions to Annika, so please type them in on the QR code. I think you would have enjoyed being here yesterday. I know you were busy, of course. So, but we had students here presenting their different projects, and it was amazing. The energy in the room, right? I see some of the students here still, and it was very evident that collaboration and co-creation across borders is extremely rewarding. So from your perspective, I know you have a daughter that studies internationally. And so what would you say in terms of the EU perspective, the importance of really having these exchanges and looking in and looking out and collaborating across borders and also across continents? Because we know that we need talent, we need to keep talent, and we also need to develop talent, and the talent needs to be given the right circumstances to flourish, right?
No, I mean, this is crucial, and I think this is some of the absolute added values of the EU, that we can move across borders, and we have these like Erasmus programs, and then also further on research programs. So I think it's really, really important, and I think it's also interesting. I saw maybe a week ago the latest Eurobarometer, where it's kind of an opinion poll, that the Swedes have a remarkably high, like almost North Korean numbers, I was going to say, on how they see themselves as Europeans, that they see themselves as EU citizens, which is actually quite remarkable, considering that Sweden has been a member for 30 years, but 30 years is not that long. But most of these young people, of course, are born into it, but we weren't. So I think it does. But I think it's also important to add that now we are seeing, and you probably, most of you working in the university world, and the attraction of Europe for researchers to come to Europe also. And it's not only because we are a good kind of research community, it's also our way of living that is attractive. And we shouldn't forget that in all these figures and numbers, that also that has an attraction in itself. And the reason also why we see all these countries wanting to conclude trade agreements with Europe, yes, it has to do with the US and its rather difficult relationship with the rest of the world. And then they see, well, this is a reliable partner. They will not break up with us via tweet. They will actually stay in the relationship, which is important.
Thank you, Annika. There's a question here from the audience. Thank you. Being the Swedish representative in the European Commission, can you suggest a specific role for Sweden in academic collaboration with Indian universities more than what is happening now? I'm thinking maybe reflecting on the visit from the Indian Prime Minister and the talks that's been surrounding these.
Yes, I mean, issues or topics that were really mentioned, because then a lot of talent discussions were on the table, and then the areas that were mainly highlighted where India is very strong and where Europe really need that kind of knowledge, and it was on AI, of course, but also on the green transition. So everything that has to do with clean tech was also very much high on the agenda. So I think those areas were particularly highlighted, and not which I think is also important, not in the sense that Europe should import these talents, but to collaborate, a real collaboration. For the first time also, we see Swedish industries are actually establishing themselves in India and doing real collaboration in India, which I think here it is important to have this exchange. But what exact the roles of the universities, I can only see that using these kind of tools as a vehicle then to continue the closer cooperation.
Thank you. There's another question. The new space race is being dominated by the US, SpaceX, which hands power to few extremely powerful individual actors. EU approaches to ensure independence, a spot in space exploration, what could they be?
Good that it was mentioned, because also space was mentioned in this India-EU agreement, and it was also discussed this week in Gothenburg. As you all know, Sweden has the only place where you can shoot up or launch
S-range.
S-range. Well, we should also mention Norway, but the only EU, because Norway has also a range or a place to shoot, and France has, but not on the European continent, but in the Guyana. But it was mentioned as one of the strong possibilities of cooperation, because, as you know, India, well, you had a moon landing not so long ago, and so there is a strong knowledge base in India, but there is also a strong investment possibility, and there are strong investment possibilities from the EU, and so here we also see strong cooperation possibilities in the future. So I think space will continue. I mean, it's not just space; is very much also about defense, about security, because everything there is linked. So.
And of course, in this field, there is quite a lot of opportunities for knowledge exchange and collaboration between universities.
Definitely. No, I think this will be a strong area of cooperation as well.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Annika, for your excellent presentation. Thank you. The business world is, of course, a key player in the transition to a more sustainable future, and we're very delighted and honored to have with us the CEO of Business Sweden. We have with us Jan Larsson, ready to step up on stage, and please write questions to Jan on the Menti site. Thank you. Please give him a warm hand.
Thank you very much, and me too. I'm very happy to be here and to discuss these issues. I will show you a bunch of slides, and I will try to kind of run through them fairly quickly, and I will end up with a short presentation of what Business Sweden is. So I will not give a long introduction of myself now, but you will get a little bit, at least, of what my organization is doing. Sustainability, I think I've been the CEO for Business Sweden in 5 years, and I think sustainability has really broadened. Naturally, it's always been about more than climate, but 5 years ago we would kind of almost put an equal sign between sustainability and climate when we discussed it. But now I think it's obvious that sustainability as a word includes much, much more than climate. So I will broaden the picture. I will speak about global trade, what is happening with it. I will speak a little bit about the collaboration between Sweden and India, and then end off with a few conclusions. But to start with then, the world, this is nothing new for you, but from my perspective, or from our perspective, there are right now 5 things that are kind of simultaneously affecting the entire world. The first one is, as has already been discussed, global trade is bruised. Sometimes we can have a feeling that global trade is out, that the WTO is not at all functioning anymore. That is not true. That's an overestimation. And even though Mr. Trump in the White House does create quite a few problems for many of the global trade companies, the US still stands for less than 15% of world trade, and that's important to remember. The rest of the world is continuing to work with trade, so I will come back to that. But naturally, we see a rise in protectionism, and it's not only the tariffs from the White House, it's a lot of different strategies, including actually the European Union strategy right now, produce in Europe or made in Europe, and actually also the Indian strategy, make in India. That is all part of the new kind of protectionism or regionalization of the world, and we have to cope with that and deal with that. The uncertainty is probably the biggest problem for at least our clients, the Swedish companies. They don't know what the tariff rate will be tomorrow, and not knowing is really a bad thing when you want to do an investment and invest billions and billions into a factory, for example. If you don't know what you can actually get for the stuff that you will produce, you will not make that investment, very simply. Second, the US and China conflict will be the new normal. This is not something that will go away. It will be. And naturally, you've always all followed what China did in their new 5-year plan. It's all good, it's all clear, it's all there. We know exactly what China will do. But historically, we have never taken any actions, at least not from a European or Western perspective, on those plans. Now we know that they're going to deliver. They are going to take up the challenge, not only in all the sectors where they're already leading, they're going to also take up the race with the US on AI, and that will have a lot of impact on the US and the relationship. So it's going to continue to be very, very tense. And trade will be part of that. Trade will be a weapon in that. Tariffs will be the hand grenades of that conflict. And naturally, speaking about the US and speaking about tariffs, that is not just a tariff, it is basically the Swiss Army knife for Donald Trump. He uses that for everything. He uses that naturally to try to balance out the trade balance in the world, but he's also using it as a weapon in his foreign policy. He's using it as a threat in achieving whatever he wants. He's using it as a way of financing a huge budget deficit. He's using it as a way of finance tax cuts. He's using it as a way of putting leverage into negotiations. So that's the biggest and best and, from his perspective, most easy tool that he has in kind of governing not only the US but also affecting the rest of the world, next to, naturally, the army that he's using too every now and then. Race for tech and leadership will naturally be in the forefront of this conflict, and it is clear to say that Europe and actually the rest of the world lags behind in this technological development, and we need to live with that too and ask ourselves what that means, both in Europe and in India and in the rest of the world. This all has a lot of effect on business. The most important one is, from my perspective, the supply chain. How do I ensure that I get all the stuff that I need, that are now coming from all over the world, into producing that car or that robot or whatever it may be that you produce? And that actually affects everyone, small companies, big companies, and everyone. So there is a rising cost for commodities, and we have persistent shortages. And lastly then, where does this leave Europe? Well, Europe needs to realize that it's kind of on its own, but still not at all on its own, because the US Europe ties have been so very close that we feel very lonely right now when the US, the big brother, is stepping away from us. The good thing with that is naturally that it makes us wake up and realize that we need to play a role. And if the world will develop into a multipolar role, Europe naturally will be the kind of the traditional old lighthouse of democracy and mature economy. It has to take that position, but it then also has to reform itself. And Annika was speaking about a lot of that, but I think it needs to kind of have a very extrovert perspective. It was once shaped because France and Germany shouldn't fight a war again. Now that is just not going to happen. But there are a lot of other things, a lot of other wars that Europe needs to find a way to kind of work with. And then naturally on top of that we have the good old existential threats to mankind, basically. We have regional military conflicts. Will these kind of conflicts that we see now grow into regional or even global conflicts, and how will that affect us? We have energy and transport. Now, the Hormuz Strait, as it was mentioned here, is naturally just another illustration on how dependent we still are on fossil energy and how dependent we still are on getting or how easy it is to hijack that dependency from various kinds of not that nice regimes. And overlooming it all, and we mustn't forget, climate change is still in action. It doesn't really matter that the world's most powerful president says, drill, baby, drill. climate change will affect us. It will affect the billions of people in the globe, and it will create a demand. Sooner or later, that demand will come. Today, the development in the US is totally shut down, but we see a rapid development in Asia. We see a rapid development in China when it comes to the innovation, but also all of the investment structures in India and many other countries. So the rest of the world is continuing to demand climate-smart solutions, and we need to kind of run with that. Just to illustrate a few of these things, this is an index measuring things like activity in the harbors and airports and cost of transport and a lot of things. And it just kind of illustrates what I've said. 0 is the historical average. High up is problems in ensuring that you get the stuff you need to produce that car. Low down, easy peasy, not a lot to worry about. But as you see, since COVID, it's been super, super historically dramatic. So kind of supply chain managers have come from being the boring people that are pretty square and just negotiating a few cents here and there to become really the kind of the kings of the management teams. Super important for production, and also an illustration. It went down, and as you see in 23 after COVID, everyone thought life is good, everything is going to be cool. And then Donald Trump hit us, and since then, basically, it has become more and more problematic by the month for the supply chain managers in the management teams. Another thing that is pretty interesting is to see the world trade. And here, as you see, it's been kind of going up and down, and you can basically spot all those crises. The interesting thing with this slide, I think, is that despite the supply chain index that you saw, despite all the kind of thick headlines that we read in the newspapers on crisis in trade, if we look at the last year and a half, and we realize that the dotted blue line there is global average on growth from previous year month to this year month, you can see that not one single month last year growth has been under growth of global trade has been under the historical average. At least me, if I wouldn't have followed these statistics, wouldn't have thought that that would be the case, but rather the opposite, that global trade would go down, because we are so centered in what we read and how we analyze the world that we kind of start with the US and then we believe. Swedish export to US has decreased. Swedish import from the US has decreased, both in services and in goods. But that's just a little fraction, just like for every other country. So this is, I think, something that we need to carry with us in that kind of, those dark moments of what is happening in world economy. Okay, so why is that? Well, first of all, as Annika was mentioning, there has been a lot of new free trade agreements lately. After 19, 20 years with India, between the EU and India, after 26 years with Mercosur, and so on, Indonesia, a partnership with Canada, a lot of these things. And they wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the US. And that's really the good thing about it, that being alone from a European perspective does not mean to sit and be alone, but it actually means making new friends. And that's what's happening right now. And that's why I think the Indian-Swedish partnership is so super important, even though we're very kind of odd in size. But new freight agreements is really good. And that is, for me as a CEO of Business Sweden, a really good thing, because 85% of the Swedish trade volumes are now covered by free trade agreements. So Sweden is well positioned in that world. Secondly, there is much spotlight on resilience. A lot of the Swedish companies have worked with this, and a lot of world companies have worked with this since COVID at least. So they are much more ready now than they would have been. So it's a good thing in a way, a lot of bad things naturally, but in a way a good thing also that we had COVID and we had all those disruptions with transport all across the world, because that made us kind of aware and more resilient. So now when the shit really hits the fan, then we are more ready. And the good thing to be a small country then is that most are bigger companies from Sweden's perspective have already kind of done their homework. So today when we ask Swedish companies, 44% percent of those that are abroad plan to expand rather than retract. A very small portion is actually kind of leaving trade, so to speak. A third factor, I think, is the green transition opportunities. As I said, climate change is unfortunately still a reality, regardless of what Donald Trump says. And we have to face that, and we have to work with that. It's going to be the coming 10, 20, 30, 40 years, big global demand will be on making our production, our lifestyles sustainable from a climate perspective. And that will drive innovation, that will drive a lot of sales, that will drive a lot of activities in many companies. Because where the demand is, eventually the supply has to be. So therefore, it is also for Sweden then actually a blessing that we're number 2 in the global. And it doesn't really matter, number 2 or number 5 or number whatever. But we're up there. And virtually every Swedish companies in the industry field has one overarching strategy. And that is, how do we make our production, how do we make our products sustainable and more climate friendly? And that is really driving them. So today you can say that it's almost so that the big companies are driving the development much more and much more powerful than policy, which may sound a bit kind of sad, but it is not. It is really because it's in the companies where the engineers are. It's in the companies when the R&D spending is and so on. So we're really running on that. Stronger alliances in this world. It is more important than ever for companies to make sure that they are hand in hand with their customers, hand in hand with their suppliers, hand in hand with all those target groups that you have as a company. So the stronger you can be and the stronger you can build alliances between companies, the stronger you can work on that, the better it is. And I'm really happy to see that Swedish companies today experience that the Swedish brand is really strong. More than 8 out of 10 companies feel that being a Swedish company is something I want to kind of celebrate. I want to tell my suppliers, I want to tell my clients. That's one of many kind of measures on whether we are well positioned. I'm also very happy that a lot of the Swedish companies, and actually speaking about India, if you go to Pune, you will find the Swedish Avenue where you have basically all the Swedish companies since 50 years back, neck by neck on one and the same street. And it's really cool to be a Swede and travel down that road. Is really amazing. But I think that is just a very strong symbol of how strong that kind of local presence is. So today, and I probably should say that to another slide, but today Sweden has, I think, 300 companies in India. And those companies employ almost 250,000 people directly. And if you would add all the kind of add-on effects from that, it will be much more than 1 million jobs that are created in India by Swedish companies. Now there are 70 approximately companies from India in Sweden, and they produce or employ 7,000 people, so there's a little bit of a potential there. But on the other hand, India is so much bigger that you can never ever compare numbers between India and Sweden. That will just kind of screw up your brain. Lastly, innovation partnership, super important naturally. Innovation, if climate will be the driver or the target or the big kind of focus point in the future demand, innovation will be the enabler. So therefore you need to think of innovation and climate change or green transition in one. And naturally also we're very proud of Sweden being number 2 on innovation. And this you can say is actually broken down into a few things that are good to know about Sweden. Number 2, I think we've had so far, since you started speaking about unicorns, we've had 48 unicorns in Sweden, which is really a lot, and that is companies that rapidly grow from being a startup to be valued more than $1 billion. I think now we have I think it's 14 active unicorns that are still kind of working. The other ones have probably been sold or too late to be called unicorns, like Spotify or whatever you need. We're number 4 on the global digitalization. A lot of indices here. It doesn't really matter. I think Sweden has struck something. I think we are a small country, but still really good at thinking new, and also making that new into something that is producible. Otherwise, we wouldn't have Spotify, and actually, otherwise, we wouldn't have Ericsson either, because that is the same kind of mentality that has gone through Swedish economic history. So this is just kind of to brag a little bit, but brag. The Minister of Industry, Deputy Prime Minister, normally says that coming with facts is not bragging. So it is kind of bragging in disguise. But why do I show that? Well, because as Annika said 4 days ago, Mr. Modi, this is just to illustrate that a beard is not a bad thing in business. But we met with him last Sunday in Gothenburg in Sweden, and he said something. He said this, but he said it much more elegantly at the meeting when he wrapped up the meeting with these business people, the biggest companies of Sweden, when he said, okay, my message to business in Sweden is innovate in Sweden, scale in India, save the world. And in a few words, I think that kind of says it all, because save the world, that's such a high thing to say. And actually, if you're the prime minister of 1.4 billion people, you can use those kind of pictures. But it still is so very true that if we can make all those innovations from Sweden and all those kind of sustainability and green, smart solutions scale up rapidly with the force and the power of the Indian economy, then we really can affect and have an effect on the world. So that was really, with my job, you don't easily get starstruck, but I must say it was something very special around Narendra Modi. So it was a great meeting and very much fun to meet him. And actually looking at India then, what is the advantages of India? Well, first of all, very favorable demographics. The average age in India is 29 years old, and it's growing in a world where most countries, even in Asia, see a falling number of people in their population. India see continuing growth in their population, and it is also increasingly focusing on infrastructure. I think it's $2.7 trillion that are in the investment plans to increase the number of airports, to increase railroads, to improve roads and the lots, harbors naturally. These $2.7 trillion are now into the Gati Shakti program, and a lot of Swedish companies are naturally interested in participating in that, and they are there in order to do that. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is that India will benefit immensely from those investments. If there's something we know, it is that economic development comes after investments in infrastructure. This is all very tech-driven. I don't know the numbers now, but I think I've heard that there are 1 million STEM students being examined every year or coming out of university every year in India. That is naturally a superpower in a world where STEM competence will be at the forefront for all these kind of innovation and all that development that is needed. We have green growth and sustainability transition within those programs and within those STEM educations. It's a very, very strong focus on actually kind of joining that development to meet that demand from the green transition that is so necessary. And then lastly, a big focus on value-add manufacturing. Make in India, again, for a kind of a free trade lover like me, this is not a good thing. But from an Indian perspective, I truly understand it, as I understand what the EU Commission is doing when it's focusing more on producing in Europe. But we mustn't believe that we can kind of take away trade between the European Union and India and have everything made locally. We still need to kind of depend on those advantages that comes from trading. And lastly, just a few illustrations. What is this free trade agreement between Sweden and India all about? Well, these are the numbers. It's super boring. But take automotive there, a Volvo. So this is kind of where it is today. The white numbers and the yellow numbers is where it's going to be once it's all implemented. So this is the tariffs from things that are produced in Europe and sold in India. So a Volvo today has an extra tax of 110%. So that's basically doubling the price for an Indian that wants to buy a Volvo today. Now, 5-10 years from now, it will be down to 10 and hopefully down to 0. But then actually the price of that Volvo will be half. And that's just a great, great, great thing, I think, not only for Volvo naturally getting a cheaper car in India, but also actually for the Indian population that can buy those cars. And the same thing goes quite the other way around as well, that all these tariffs that are now on Indian goods will also be taken down, so it will become cheaper for European citizens to buy Indian-produced goods. And that's not all. This is where we focus. But there are a lot of things next to cost, such as market access. We will make it easier to sell those products. We will try to harmonize the different standards that is actually causing a lot of problems today. So if you want to sell a technical thing to India, there are different standards, different protocols that you need to fulfill than you have in Europe. If we can align those, it will be so much easier to produce things and sell things in each other countries. So it will be more simple, and we will protect intellectual property between our regions or countries or much better than before. So this is a great, great, great breakthrough after 19 years. And naturally, it's our job to make sure that Swedish companies realize the opportunities that are here, but also the opportunities that Indian companies see in Sweden. So India brings a lot of things, and Sweden brings a lot of things. And now we should click up a heart in between, but that heart didn't come. So you just have to envision a heart in between those two things. So Sweden, naturally, I think there are 170. It's 140, I suppose, mathematically easy. 140 Indians on each Swede. So naturally, the size here is totally upside down. But Modi is right. Innovate in Sweden and then use that size difference in order to scale in India. And also, naturally, for Indian companies, come to Sweden and innovate. Be part of those ecosystems, be part of what the university here is doing and in other places of Sweden, and make sure that you kind of take out and can work with those. So I already said that we have a lot of companies in Sweden. Business Sweden have offices in 3 places. New Delhi, because that's where the capital is. Bangalore, Bengaluru, because that's where the IT development goes on. And then Mumbai, because that is close to Pune, and Pune is where most of the Swedish industrial companies are today. And we have basically opened the Mumbai office just a year back, so we are expanding in India, and we're looking forward to working even more close with the free trade agreement. And if you look globally, we have offices across the globe, and our mission is basically to make sure that Sweden, that today has 50% of its GDP from export. So we would only be half as rich as we are today if we didn't have any export. And out of that, and that most Swedes know because we cannot get to know that we are a trade-dependent or export-dependent country. But out of those 50%, or half of the half, 25% of the total GDP in Sweden, comes from export generated by foreign-owned companies. So Sweden are truly a very, very open economy. And we have these companies here to make sure that Swedish companies can get the guiding that they need and the help that they need, and the analysis that they need, but also the kind of practical help they need when they want to establish. So if anyone in the Swedish part of the audience feels like establishing in India, do reach out to us. We are there basically to make it as easy as possible. With our 54 global offices, we are not a state agency. We are owned by half of us, or half of our company is owned by the state, but half is owned by Swedish industry. Don't ask me how that works, but it was a contract signed 60 years back. So we are an animal that doesn't look like any other animal in the Swedish society, but we really like that because it gives us a lot of freedom. And as I said, we are navigating the regulations, and we are working hands-on practically with how to actually establish, how to find customers, how to work with authorities, how to establish a good business wherever you are in the world. And if you want to read more, you can scan that QR code. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much indeed, John. That was super interesting. And thanks for mentioning climate several times. I'm an EU climate ambassador, and I worked with climate for many years, so you know this is very dear to me. There was an article in Forbes 10 days ago, approximately, about the incredible expansion of electrification in India.
Yeah.
That's unprecedented. And it seems like India is taking a frog leap past many different other transition techniques from coal to electrification. So based on this is on statistics from Ember, the big stats organization. So from your experience, Jan, you've met the Prime Minister and the talks here and also the wonderful trade discussions that are finally in place. What could you say about how Sweden and India can jointly strengthen the electrification process in not just in our countries, but maybe also in the world? Because we have the fossil fuel steel, that now will be cheaper for India, and steel is needed in many parts of electrification. And we have other aspects that we might be able to sort of strengthen each other.
At least we will soon have the fossil-free steel. But you're totally right. And just as an example, in kind of an area next to electrification, I think today India has a better 5G coverage on the cell phones than Europe, which I really think is interesting. And the speed, it took some time, but the speed, once India decided to actually get 5G across its huge country with all these inhabitants, was absolutely amazing. So now they passed Europe, and I think the same thing can well happen also with electrification. That once they decide and once they work, although when any Swede ever goes to India, it's going to be a chaos, and we can't really understand how the hell anything can be kind of rolled out in a systematic way. But it is with the power and with a kind of orientation on future and with the kind of a stressed up tempo, because India realizes that with all these young people, this growing population, they have to kind of catch that train into the future. So I think you're totally right. And naturally, Sweden also here, we have, we're producing the world's best, what is it called now? High voltage, HVDC.
The heat exchangers.
Exactly. No, not the transmission of electricity.
Yes, but also heat exchangers.
Yes, heat exchangers. We are doing some of the best
transmissions.
Yes, but not the transmission. No, the turbines of the world and so on. So we have a lot of that knowledge, and actually now with the program to electrifying India, that knowledge should be kind of sent over to India and probably produced and manufactured a lot of that in India as well. But with the insights and the knowledge of Swedish old-time industry, we can really help in backing up that. But the same goes with the airports. There's a lot of companies that you may not even have heard of in Sweden that are really good in surveillance, in radar production, in whatever it is. So we can really help there. We can help in the harbors. We can help in the railroads and so on. So I think this free trade agreement and a bigger kind of focus on this. And I think for India that is important, not only because I truly believe that most of the best solutions are, some of the best solutions are in Sweden, a bit humble, but also because I don't think India benefits from going to China only in doing that. I don't think India, at the end of the day, wants to have Chinese control over the harbors and the airports. So it's really also part of kind of the global development right now.
Thank you. Great questions coming in. I'm going to save some of them for the panel talk that you're going to take part in, because some of them also actually could be directed to Annika. But there's one direct question that I think you could answer. Because we have university professors here, we have some students, and of course, we'd like to also have your view on the role of universities. So what actions would you like to see from Swedish universities to respond to the challenges and opportunities you addressed?
I think we're already good at that, but we need to kind of remind ourselves that we are good at collaborating between business and universities. I'm a firm believer in kind of free research and basic research and all of that. but we mustn't see the commercialization as research as something bad. Quite the contrary, that is the most efficient way of getting the results of all the research that you do, getting that to the benefit of mankind, or whatever Nobel once said, but getting that out to the people. No one is as efficient in getting those ideas and those smart brains into concrete action as companies. So the more we can collaborate, the more we can understand, the more we can co-create the problems that we need to solve and so on. I think the stronger will the university be, but also the bigger will be the impact of all those sharp brains thinking in the university here.
Thank you. We saw some great examples of that yesterday, right, with students that have been doing internships in companies, and also the collaboration during their master's thesis and programs.
And that's also important. All the companies, you need to take on those internships, and those young people. Don't believe that AI will make it impossible for young people to get work. If we do that, then we're smoked.
Then we're smoked,
Yeah.
and we don't want to be smoked. Now, what we might want is coffee.
Yep.
So there is coffee break now. We meet back up here again at 11 sharp, please. I emphasize 11 sharp. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Let's take a seat, please, and let's commence. And I also wanted to say give a little wave to all of you watching online. I know there's quite a lot of people that are not able to attend here, and that you can also send your questions in via Menti. That's one of the reasons we actually use Menti. So if you're online, of course, your questions are also welcome. So, we might be missing some latecomers. I'm going to check if we have more people on the way. Yes, there are more people on the way. Let's give them a minute or two to settle in. I know there was some latency in the bus system this morning, so that might be the case. Sometimes that is the reason for not arriving in time. All right. So the next speaker, unfortunately, she was not able to join us physically from India, but she has recorded a message to us that we will now convey on the screen. Because now we're going to turn to explore collaboration with the public sector. And we will talk about, listen firstly on how we explore research in collaboration with society, how this can turn ideas into real-world impact. We're going to highlight the power of co-creation across academia, industry, public sector, and also civil society. So with that said, I would have liked to have her next to me, but unfortunately she was unable to attend today for reasons that we don't have to share here. But we will start listening to Dr. Rupa Vasudevan. She is Chancellor and founder of Bharatiya Engineering Science and Technology Innovation University in Andhra Pradesh. So she has recorded her keynote, and let's listen to it.
Hello everyone, distinguished guests, host University Rector, Professor Martin of Mallardalin University, academic leaders, respected members from the EU Commission, industry partners, a very good afternoon to all of you. I apologize for not being there in person, but some situations and circumstances are generally out of our control, and mine is one such. But I am really glad that the university, the host university, gave me an opportunity to reach out to all of you via an online talk today. It's a privilege to speak, especially on the topic of co-creation with society, because it is deeply embedded with my university system, the university that I founded in 2018, called the Bharatiya Engineering Science and Technology Innovation University from the state of Andhra Pradesh in south of India. I believe that the universities today are uniquely positioned to integrate technological advances with profound learner experiences, experiential learning experiences, experiential learning that aligns to the future of work. And therefore, universities have moved from knowledge consumption to building problem-solving ecosystems. And when I say problem-solving ecosystem, a role of a university takes a shape through societies, and such that we create meaningful impact to the communities around us. This can happen only through co-creation. And the challenge that we see basically today is that we are not really interconnected. And interconnection, when I say whether it is sustainability, we live in a VUCA world, and whether it's sustainability or employability, climate resilience, artificial intelligence, healthcare, water security, or social inclusion, there are these tiers and bands which are not isolated problems. These are integrated problems, and these are interconnected problems. I would say they are deeply connected, in fact. And such interconnected problems need collective intelligence. And no single institution, however strong, can independently solve these challenges just through research and in silos. Uh, for an institution like ours, which is the Best Innovation University, co-creation means building education with the society and not merely for the society. We are deeply connected to our stakeholders, to our communities, to the industries, to the governments, and we innovate with them and with our global partners. So a very interesting pattern came about when when we did a stakeholder interaction. We realized that the youth wants meaning, it wants purpose. The governments do not need handshake anymore. They need real systems that scale. And same with communities. The communities don't need charity anymore. They need hand holding. They want to co-create with the institutions around them. Now, at Best Innovation University, we strongly believe that transformation happens at this intersection of all our stakeholders. And when I say intersection, industry brings relevance. Knowledge finds context, and when education finds meaning. So governments bring their policy support, they bring their scale, and communities, they bring lived realities, where technology plays a very important part in bringing innovation. So while we do all of this, it becomes important and critical to collaborate. Therefore, Best Innovation University also believes that collaboration is a way forward, especially with international universities. We have over 56 country collaboration, and we believe that the international universities bring a global knowledge context and diverse perspectives, not only to our learners, but also through co-curating research ideas. So when these worlds really come together, I think powerful things can happen. Our research becomes actionable, our students become future ready, and our innovation becomes more inclusive. The education has to be relevant to the real world challenges, and it becomes exactly that. So we don't believe in Best IU that community outreach is merely an outreach activity. It's an engagement which is central to how we create an impact for people and everything around us, the environment around us. One of the very important aspects that we work on is water security, and as we all know, it's one of humanity's most pressing challenges. So we are also equally committed for the same reason in upskilling and reskilling communities around us for water management. So younger people, farmers, professionals, and working communities, all of them need opportunities continuously, and we provide this opportunity for them to adopt and to grow. So we see immense potential also in agricultural systems, and we work a lot on agricultural systems and food technology, food systems. Now, agriculture today really needs innovation, especially in a country like India. It needs technology, it needs sustainability, and most importantly, it needs knowledge partnerships. I'm aware that Sweden is one of the most forthcoming countries when it comes to change, design and change, sustainability and change. And since our challenges are global and climate change doesn't belong to one nation, I think we need to join hands, and that's the very best way to move forward. Sustainability is our shared responsibility, and we would love to learn from the masters themselves who have tried to do a lot of work and contribute to sustainable actions for a greener planet. And lastly, as I conclude, I think I would like to leave you with one thought. The future of education, as we all will believe and understand is not built by institutions working alone, and it is built by the institutions who are primarily willing to collaborate and thus co-create solutions that matter to the world, that truly matter to the world. And at Best Innovation University, we are deeply committed to such collaborations. We are deeply committed to this journey, and because we truly believe that the future of education is not something that universities create for society. It is something that we create with society. So I would like to welcome all of you to our campus at Andhra Pradesh. We'll soon have a reason to call on all of you for a very important summit that will be held in the month of November. And so you will hear from us soon. And thank you very much again for providing me this opportunity. Thank you.
Yes. I'm sure this recording will be shared with Dr. Vasudevan, so she could enjoy your applause. Let's move on to the next speaker, who is here with us. I'm delighted to introduce Petra von Heideken-Vogert. She's professor of physiotherapy and scientific director, professor and scientific director, Center for Welfare Change. And you lead initiatives that bring together academia, healthcare, society to shape the future of wellness and health. That's a big topic. Lucky you. Here we go.
And to present this example of a collaboration platform that we have here at MDU, the Center for Welfare Change. So it's a very, very wide and big topic. We know that, but it's a wide topic, but still we have narrowed it down to the possibilities of health and welfare technology. And that's wide enough, actually, because it's not only the technology or the use of the technology, it's the meeting with the person they're going to use the technology, with the patient, with the caretaker, and also the organizational perspectives of this, and actually much, much more. And we were created 3 years ago, in 2023. We became a university at 22, so we wanted to start some strategic initiatives, and this was one of them. Because we have very, very strong research in health and welfare technology for several years back. But maybe, as we all know in universities, maybe we work a little bit in silos, more with certain places than others, but still we need to work together and we have to build it up, maybe in silos. But now the time had come to really gather this together and to get this grip and this total grip of this area, actually. So we are initially funded by MDU. The center has 50 million crowns, Swedish crowns, and then we had also a parallel postdoc initiative that was connected to the center. So in total, MDU funded for 62 million crowns. And we think this balance actually worked out pretty well, because now we have 75 million crowns in external funding to this center. So this is an important balance in this world, as you know. So we have some co-finance from the public sector for actually 3 co-funded PhD positions. So one in the region of Västmanland, and one in the municipality of Eskilstuna, and one in the Swedish municipalities and regions owned company Inera. They're working with some digital services to Sweden. So these 3 PhD positions are co-financed. And also, we have external funding for 63 million crowns from Vinnova, the Swedish Innovation Agency Authority, and from the Swedish Research Council, and actually also EU Horizon project, together with, I think it's Spain, Greece, Netherlands, Ireland, of course, is the coordinator for that. So that we have started during these 3 years, and several projects. And we started at the university, of course, because we were also about to build a interdisciplinary research environment. So we started with these meetings every second week in Västerås, in Eskilstuna. And this was in 2022, so we had a little bit of a pandemic effect as well. We started to get to meet each other, and the importance of meeting in a room and share experiences, and to talk to each other. Different parts of the university, we had to start there. So just to talk to each other, do you also do this? We didn't know that you really existed or that this research really existed. So to get these researchers together was the first step. And also in parallel workshops with the public sector, with municipalities, with regions, with the civil society and with the industry. Many companies have accompanied us with in this process of building this center. And we also build it together with the municipality, the regions, and the companies. So it wasn't that we're going to start this. Do you want to join us? Let's do it together instead. So always in our project, we have this interdisciplinary basis and also with the transdisciplinary working methods. So we always work together from different parts of the university and, of course, in collaboration with the surrounding society. So we want to combine, as the speaker before me said, we want to combine this knowledge because we are experts in different things. We're not about to go out and learn the public sector certain things. We share our expertise and they share their expertise, and together we are co-creating. So in Swedish we say that we are samkunskapar. It's so wonderful that we can find one word for this, but co-creative knowledge. You can translate that too. So really to help and to support good decision making, because we meet the municipalities and we have bought in technology for several million crowns. And what are the effects, we asked? We don't know, because we haven't had the data to explore the effects. So there we can build together, so you really can evaluate, because it is really, really important. And when we talk about something happened with that picture. When we talk about health and welfare technology, we both talk about the health and welfare technology that is connected to the patient, to the caretaker, to promote health, well-being, quality of life, but also with the working conditions of the staff. So kind of behind the scenes technology. And we all know in Sweden we have tried to implement some journal systems the last few years that have went so, but still, therefore, we really need to meet each other to come in with our expertise as well and combine it with their expertise. And in the center, we were up to almost 100 persons last year, actually, before some postdocs ended their positions. But we were a management of 3 persons, and then we have 16 researchers for at least 20% of their full-time positions. So they have the time to work in the center, to have these meetings, to really go out and collaborate with our partners. And of course, to write really, really good scientific applications as well to get this funding started. Because, of course, the MDU funding is the seed money to grow from. So we're gonna grow with the external funding as well. So these are the names of our new departments from 1st of January. So we have researchers from all parts of the university. 5 postdocs. As I said before, we started with 4 and then 1 is affiliated. We have 13 PhD students that are connected to the center. Some are fully financed, some are partly financed, and some are affiliated, but they do research within the area. And of course, with postdocs and doctoral students, it comes a lot of supervisors that are connected to the center. And we, in the beginning of the postdoc positions, we really forced the supervisors to work together. We forced them to build the supervision teams, and of course with the PhD students as well, from different parts of the university, from different subjects. Because otherwise it's so easy to say, oh, we are so interdisciplinary, but still you work with your friends from your own subjects. So this was, we forced them to do this, actually. And also we have an advisory board with both regional and national leaders from regions, municipalities, and civil society, and from the industry. So we have the transdisciplinary working methods. We always take our departure from the challenges. So not the needs, because then you have worked some steps further if you know what you need. But what's the challenge? To start from the challenge. What's the challenge in your real world system? So we go out in competence teams. If a challenge comes into the center, we go out with researchers from different parts of the university to meet the challenge owners from different parts of that organization. And also we have workshops, monthly workshops for several years now, that also are challenge-driven. And some of our representatives from Arcada joined our workshop yesterday and could see that from inside. And just to start from a challenge and then to broaden it up to that everybody, all the stakeholders that have something to say about this are welcome and to join these discussions. And just to meet the industry that can meet the regions and municipalities, that's a really, really big need for them to meet and to have these discussions. Because otherwise in the procurement processes, it's a little bit closed rooms and they can't really have these discussions. So that's a really, 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 really large side effect actually. And we have, of course, many ongoing projects. Eskilstuna municipality are doing a different procurement process. The first municipality in Sweden, they're doing it in a different way. And we are part of the contract, we are part of the process to build this up and to make sure that the data is sustainable and that we can really do the evaluations from that. And a lot of projects with implementing digital tools in clinical settings, different perspectives of that. And this fall, we also got a larger research school, except for the center research school with our 13 PhD students. Here we got financed for 52 million crowns for a national research school for the future public sector. So this is the first phase out of 3. And this is 10 PhD positions from north to south and east to west. It's a little bit of a hole in the middle of Sweden, but there's actually the SustainGov positions in Östersund and Sundsvall. And SustainGov is an impact innovation program in Sweden that is focused on public sector. So we are the biggest actually initiative in SustainGov, this research school. So we're the hosts. The center is the host for this research school. And of course, here we can really use our wide name for the welfare change. So we have projects in water supply, in food supply, in sensor systems for health, for organization perspectives of municipal leaderships, and so on. And here we draw actually the supervision one step further. Here we have supervisors from different universities for all of the PhD students. We'll see how that works out in the fall, but still it's a challenge, but we have to do things in a new way. And that was in this call as well, to make the academia work in different ways. And we really, really try to do this. And we use the working methods from the center. And the priorities for collaboration here, we can take that also in the discussion afterwards. But still, it's a global world, and we can take part in each other's digital activities. Of course, it isn't so far between Sweden and India if we are digitally connected. And of course, for joint applications for research funding and so much more. So just please contact us. Oh. The longest, I think, email address at the university didn't take place in this picture, but still, it's a QR code for our webpage. And you can find us, and you can always contact me. So thank you very much.
Please stay. Speaking of QR codes, could we have the QR code back, please, for the questions to the speakers? Because I know there were some people arriving a bit late, so they might have missed the QR code. So just a quick question, Petra. Could you share your favorite example of something that's really been successful in this work?
Actually, we had that at our workshop yesterday. It's a smaller municipality outside Västerås that came to us in a big delegation, 15 people. Now we have the courage to contact you at the university. It was very, very big for them to contact the university. What are we going to talk about and how are we going to talk? But they met us and saw that we were humans as well. So we talked about their challenges, and now it is a large research project, and they have got funding from the state to do things with a digital connection for people that can't come to the municipal meeting places. So they have developed, we have shared examples from other municipalities that have developed this technology and shared that to that municipality. So that's a really, really nice.
So what do you think? How can we sort of lower the threshold for smaller municipalities to actually go to the universities and say, hello, we need help. Can we co-create something?
Yes, we have to do that. We really, really have to. So we have to be proactive and go out and search up these networks.
So it's about proactivity.
I think so, yes, because otherwise it's not that many that are going to come to the universities. I think so.
Thank you, Petra. You'll be back for the panel talk.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on. We have another, yes, of course. The next speaker is going to talk about co-creation with industry. And Thomas Nolteis, professor and head of Mälardalen University Automation Research Center. It's called MARC. Maybe it's pronounced Mark? Mark, that's easy.
Hello.
And you work closely with industrial partners to develop future technologies, bridging research and real-world applications. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Does it work? Yes. All right, so some 20 years back now, actually, I finished my PhD, I realize. So I'm getting old, not only by realizing it was 20 years, but also the fact that I can't really see much on the script here, but it doesn't matter. So, but 20 years back, I wouldn't be invited here to talk about co-creation, co-production with industry. I was all about, academic excellence, science, the prestigious funding agencies, the top-ranked journals and conferences and so on. That was the core of my game 20 years back. But then 15 years back, roughly, then I started to realize that I can do all of this cool research. Imagine you can do like 20 different things in research. But maybe 3 to 5 of these different things, they are also interesting or relevant from an industrial perspective. I can't really do all the 20 things because I don't have the time and the resources. But what if I instead focus on those 3 to 5 things that also can make sense and generate value for our companies in the region here? So then it was not only scientific excellence anymore, but it was scientific excellence with some industrial relevance. So here, this is what we should focus about. And then 10 years back, I was sitting with some people in here, together with a lot of leaders of the companies in the region. We were in Finnslätten, north of here, the downtown. And there were meetings regarding how to develop this industrial area in the city and how the university could fit into that picture and so on. And one wish coming from our industrial partners in the region is that they need students to recruit students, and they need the best students. And they are working a lot on things relating to automation. But we don't know that Västerås is so famous in automation-related stuff. And how do we get the best people to come to Västerås to work with automation? We need to get automation up in the first room and get it visible. So then, what could I do as a professor researcher? So I started then this journey that we'll talk about today, the MARC research profile. But I started with an industrial PhD school focusing on automation, because this is what I could do from my office. I mean, I do research and PhD education. So the journey of Mark started maybe 10 years back, and we consolidated a lot about what we do related to automation. And today I'm here talking to you about co-creation and collaboration with industry. So, because this is what I do, and I really believe that this is where we should invest and to get the most out of the investment and the time spent together. So I'm Thomas Nolte. I'm a professor in computer science, and I'm leading this MARC research profile. And let's talk a little bit more about that first. So the research profile, it's an instrument by one of the funding organizations or agencies in Sweden on how a university can profile itself within some area. And it's a quite substantial amount of money you can get. And more importantly, it's over a long period of time. So this center, MARC, will run for 8 years. And our idea is that during these 8 years, apart from the build-up of everything that we're doing, the goal is to be self-financed within 8 years, so that we will continue after the funding of the funding agent, which is Knowledge Foundation, by the way, when that is disappearing. And our vision is to create Sweden's #1 research and education environment within sustainable production systems and automation systems research. And we do this by engaging the university's best researchers, and there are 3 different tracks relating to production, robotics, and digital infrastructures. And I can't talk everything about what we're doing, but fundamentally, it's integration of research into our education, so we get a nice synergy in between our educational programs and the research that we do. We focus a lot about dissemination and using seminars and meetings and so on. And everything we do almost is now about collaboration and co-production with industry. I mentioned companies in the region having a meeting 10 years back. It's quite large international. The MARC is we're working together with the companies in the region, but these companies are really global players. You see ABB, Hitachi Energy, Alfa Laval, Volvo Construction Equipment, Skanska, Scania, Ericsson, and ABB Robotics Sweden. I will give some example because it's written in the manuscript that I will talk about sustainable production and also digitalization. And this is one of the projects. In the previous slide I wrote there were 32 projects. So this is one of the projects, looking on how could we leverage on one of the really emerging super flexible and super scalable automation solutions available. Humanoid robots. I mean, you can have 1, or you could have 10, or you can have 1,000. And they can do something, and they can do something totally different, super flexible. And together with the Volvo Construction Equipment, we're looking into how could we introduce humanoid robot into the production line in their factory to see what type of work could you lift off using this type of solution, so that you could introduce other type of works for the humans to do. Another example is relating to digitalization, and one industrial sector that has basically always been able to throw in more people working, so you can solve the problem. You can build a bridge by throwing in more people. So that's always a fallback. You can throw in more people. So the desire by the industry to really accommodate more technological tools has been a bit more difficult. At least this is what I get from Skanska, who is the industrial partner here. But the idea here is that in construction, there are lots of dangerous jobs that are really not good for the people working. They are heavy work, so you get your body becomes, torn out too early. And one of them is, when you build concrete stuff, inside of the concrete there is a skeleton of metal that is built by rebars. And the idea is to use industrial robots to create these rebar cages that later on you can then lift them in place. So you don't have to do as done today, where every rebar is tied together manually by a worker, which is a heavy work. So this is a nice example of automation in the construction industry. And here was the slide with a number of projects. So I will not talk about everything, but the idea is we will grow quite significantly a number of people working here. There is a lot of different projects that is going to happen in the MARC umbrella. And we do a lot of dissemination activities to engage with the partners and the industry and the students and so on. And in the bottom row there is 25 mobility projects, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. So you can read more on that website, but you can also Google MARC and MDU and you will find that one. So now something totally different, but not really. So I thought when I was supposed to give this talk, what message should I give to you guys? Because I want to give something quite useful and quite easy. And I will share with you my interpretation on how basically collaboration and co-production with industry is an easier way to facilitate it. And the starting point, as at least as I see it, is something like this. So in industry, we are really busy on delivering what we have sold to make money for the company. I mean, this is the prime thing that we need to do. So we're super busy, and it's actually quite difficult to ask for our industrial fellows to do more than delivering on what they are supposed to deliver on, because they are too busy on doing that. In academia, on the other hand, you have people like me 20 years back, really focusing on doing a lot of research and getting grants, and so on, and travel to conference or whatever. It's also very, very busy. So we're super busy. Everyone is super busy. And how should we deal with this? And then one super good instrument that we can use is mobility projects. Because mobility projects, that's funded by several funding agencies, and even universities fund their own staff to go on mobility projects in some cases. But what it means is that you can place a researcher within the mess of the industry. And you can have that person being there for a while. At least, I propose at least for a year, if possible. And it's enough that you go there on a regular basis and try to get a grasp of the situation. Because as the researcher then, you have a whole toolbox of different things that you can use to stimulate co-creation and collaboration. Everything from student projects to different types of research grants and so on. And you can pick up what is an important problem. So for example, a particular engineer is suffering from, time is running out, is suffering from some technical challenge, and you may know of some technology that could maybe solve this problem. And since you build up some relationship and trust here by being in industry in the mobility project, you can suggest a solution and maybe get a blessing in a much easier way. Finally, also, I would like to say that industrial PhD schools, or in industry PhDs, but industrial PhD schools, that's a super good instrument in order to build a long-term relation with these companies. Because, as you enroll industrial person in a PhD school, you have that connection for 4 years at least, 5, maybe 6, and sometimes even longer, and also after. And putting them in the same room, you share a lot of different common challenges and so on. So think about this. The result when you do this thing is that you get an increased understanding and you get an established trust, and that is the key thing. So this is my final slide with the key take-home points for you to get good co-production and co-creation is that mobility projects really use that to get people into the place or the companies that you would like to work with. So you build on understanding what is really important for each other, so you can create value. And then really use this instrument also of industrial PhDs and industrial PhD schools to get long-term relationships, not only having a meeting or two, but actually doing things over 4 years. And this will unlock the trust among the individual that is super central in order for you to get the thing flying. It's not sufficient if the CEO and the president of the university say that we should do this. If you didn't convince the engineer on the floor working with that communication problem or whatever that you can get some value here, then it's really difficult to get it to happen. So to get out there into the mess and really get to know each other, build trust, that's the way to work with co-creation with industry, to me. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Thomas. Due to time constraints, I will take questions to you in the panel.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thanks.
Great. Let's now move on and listen to another presentation about another project focusing on collaboration. And we're delighted to introduce Professor Hailong Lee, Future Energy Center here at Mälardalen University. And you will talk about the collaboration between Sunrise and Indian partners. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So it's really my pleasure to be here. And just now, Petra and Thomas, they have talked about the co-creation or collaboration with industry and with society. So I'm going to talk about this from a different angle. And I will give a more concrete example. So this is one of our achievements in co-creation and also collaboration. So at MDU, we have a very ambitious strategic plan to promote co-creation and collaboration. Recently, we prioritized the cooperation with Indian partners and also with Sunrise partners. So last year, when we saw an open call, that's a joint call between EU and India, and we consider this as a very interesting call. And it's a good opportunity for us to move one step further from the strategies on the paper to real activities. So we first contact the Indian partner to decide the topic, and then through the Sunrise network, we try to look for partners. So very fortunately, we have built a very strong consortium, and I think that's a fundament for this success. So based on this, we have got a newly granted EU Horizon project. So that's what we are going to talk about today. So as you can see, the title of the project is Boosting Hydrogen Production from High Water Content Bio-waste with Negative Carbon Emissions. So we will kick off this project next month, and it's a 4-year project. So first is some background information. So as everybody knows, both EU and India are facing some challenges due to the climate change. And there is also a very strong need about the transition to the sustainable future energy systems. And both EU and India have very ambitious goals about decarbonization. And we believe hydrogen could also play a very important role in the future energy systems. However, currently, there are still many challenges. So for hydrogen, as we know, the cost is still very high. And in order to really implement into the real life, we need to develop new technologies to reduce the cost. So this is a challenge. And it's also interesting to see for India and Europe, we have different conditions, but such conditions could also be complementary. So for example, for EU, there are some new technologies, and also we are in the leading position about environment assessment, and also some green transition. And for India, there are also a lot of, they are facing the rapid growth in energy demand, and also there's a lot of waste that need to be handled. So consider such kind of conditions. So if we could promote the cooperation or co-creation, so we could achieve a win-win situation. So this is a motivation behind this project. So in general, the project goal is to produce hydrogen with a lower cost and also with negative emissions. So as you can see here, we consider two key technologies. So one is about the hydrothermal gasification, and the other is about pyrolysis. So by optimize the integration and also optimize the control of the system, then we can maximize the hydrogen production and at the same time minimize the cost for hydrogen production. And also, another important influence is we use a non-recyclable high water content waste. So waste is also a big challenge all around the world. So how to handle such kind of waste is very challenging. So this technology, the technology we are developing could also solve this challenge. So here is more details about the technology or the concept. So on the left, we can see we can use different waste. So it can be the sewage sludge. It can also be food waste and also like the manures from animals. So after pretreatment, they will first go to the gasification reactor. So here we use hydrothermal gasification. So the advantage for this technology is it can produce very high hydrogen content, syngas. So it can be up to 60%. But we can also say, in addition to hydrogen, there are also some methane. So methane also contains hydrogen. So in order to further increase the production of hydrogen, so this methane can also be used. So in methane pyrolysis, we can break down methane to solid carbon and hydrogen. However, for gasification, it also consumes a lot of energy. So some methane will also be burned to provide the heat needed by the gasification process. And from this concept, we can see we will have three valuable products. So hydrogen is one of them. And in addition, we also have biochar and solid carbon. So they are also very good materials. So biochar can be used for many other applications like the soil amendment and gas cleaning and water cleaning and so on. And the solid carbon is also, it has been widely used as material for battery manufacturing. So such byproducts could further reduce the cost of hydrogen production. So that's so we can combine all of the benefits, then we can achieve our goals. So this project is built on cooperations between many partners. So here, this is a map showing the EU partners. And because this is a research and innovation project, we have 5 universities involved in this project. And in addition, we have 3 other research institutes. We also have a consulting company, EUAbout, so they are responsible for disseminations. So for different partners, they have very different competence and covering from system modeling, catalyst development, hydrogen safety, and so on. So I will not go into every detail. And we also have 5 Indian partners involved. So on the Indian side, IIT Bombay, they are the coordinator, and they will contribute to many technical issues. And in addition, we have 2 other Indian universities, so IIT, ISM, Dhambat, and also NIT Srinagar. And we also have the HPCL, that's Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited. So it's a government of India enterprise in the oil and the gas sector. So they have very good experience in hydrogen safety. And the RE sustainability, so they are a top sustainable solution provider. So they will contribute to catalyst development and also the feedstock collections. And one of the biggest strengths of our consulting or our project is a co-creation. So here we promote the cooperation not only between EU partners and also between EU partners and Indian partners. So we are aiming to work as an integrated team with shared goals. So as you see, there are 8 work packages planned in the project, and all of them are built on the cooperation between EU partners and the Indian partners. So we think such kind of cooperation strategy can make our project not only a technical project, and in addition, we could also build like partnership forum. So in this forum, we can support even like more about knowledge exchange, like capacity building and researcher mobility, and even long-term cooperations. Yeah, that's all. Thanks.
Thank you very much indeed. Please take a seat. And Thomas, please join me, and Petra and Jan and also Annika for the little panel conversation here. So, and I've received quite a few questions from you. Thank you very much from the audience. And I'd like to start turning to the academics. Well, you're right, all obviously academics here, but the professors here. Could you single out a success factor that really stands out in this work with cooperation? Petra, if you start.
Meet and talk to each other. Is it
We need a microphone on Annika.
Yeah, the microphone. Yeah.
There is, yes.
Success factor, meet each other, talk to each other. It actually is as simple.
Physical meetings, if possible. If possible, of course, yeah, because a lot of things are happening in this room when you meet and with other people meeting each other. So it's a lot of connections there. But just talk to each other and share the challenges, the possibilities that we are facing. I think the basis for everything. Thank you. Thomas.
I think I mentioned it also in the presentation about mobility and these schools. It's the same. It's the meeting between the people and establishing the trust. I think the trust is the key thing, because we are so busy, as I tried to explain with the busy pictures, that you really need to rely on trust in order for it to give it a go-ahead.
And we've seen the Sunrise collaboration here, that trust is really, it's a lot of benefits, because when you work together, you gain trust. So, Hailong, what is your success factor that you like to single out?
I want to add one more dimension. Is about responsibility. So everybody should be responsible for the communications and also deliverables.
And also, I'd like to ask you, Thomas, in terms of Sunrise, what would you say your interest would be in collaborating with the Sunrise Alliance?
Well, it could be to leverage a little bit on the local networks at the different Sunrise partners to create a European level type of networks among industry players within sustainable production systems, automation, technology.
Petra, how long would you like to add?
With the Sunrise collaboration. We open all our doors, of course. We haven't been that active partners yet in the Sunrise, but still we want to be that. So everything we can share and learn from each other is more than welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Jan, for setting up with the microphones. I got so carried away here to start asking questions. So, Jan and Annika, what are your reflections after having listened to the professors here about the collaboration and co-creation and with industry and also business? What could you say, Jan? Or Annika, would you like to start?
Well, I noticed that most of you mentioned the European dimension, mentioned that you had got support from Horizon or any other support mechanisms from the EU, which makes me very happy because it means that it works the way we want it to work. And all of you mentioned the word trust, which I think both me and Jan also mentioned on a more global scale. So in a way, it's if you take all the dimension, it's very interesting to see that human part of trust is part of if it's a free trade agreement or if it's a research project.
Thank you, Annika. Jan?
Just to be a bit academic then, I would like to start to just shortly quote one of the last super multi-knowledgeable persons in the world, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. He once said, "Es ist nicht genug zu wissen, man muss auch anwenden. Und es ist nicht genug zu wollen, man muss auch tun." It's not enough to know, you need to use that knowledge. And it's not enough to want, you also need to do. And I think that very much kind of reflects my perspective on collaboration. And I think also that maybe just to kind of add on one perspective, at least my understanding of collaboration comes very much from trying to work together with public agencies, and that's a skill of its own. But maybe there is something to learn also in academia on that. But for me, it's super important when we get together with the agencies, we need to establish a very clear project structure. So we need to know, we need to have a deadline, we need to have a very clear target on what we want to achieve, and we also need to realize that we are different, the different organizations, so we can't be kind of collaborating by wanting to know everything and having a stake at everything that the other party is doing. We need to kind of chisel out that Venn diagram so that we know that, okay, this is the intersection where we want to collaborate. This is what I can bring to the table. This is what you can bring to the table. This is what you can bring to the table. And don't expect anyone to bring anything else. And don't really care what the hell the other ones are doing, because they're going to do their things any which way. And a lot of the public collaboration, I think, in Sweden ends up with being you don't want anyone to interfere with what you're planning to do, and therefore you just kind of inform on what you're doing presently, and everyone is informing each other, and then you say, now we're collaborating, but you're not, because you have to have that kind of common target, that common idea of what you want to achieve, and then really find the ways of using whatever strengths the different organizations or different people in the Trust Coalition then has in order to get faster there. So everyone needs to feel that, okay, I can reach my objective easier by using the skills of all the other ones in the room, so to speak.
Thank you for that perspective. How does that resonate with you, Hailong, what John just stated here?
I fully agree. Sometimes in some research project, as Jan said, so everybody just work on their own task. So even though they are sitting on the same table, there are no interactions, real interactions. So in order to make co-creation, I think they need to interact with each other, not only just do what is assigned to them.
And how do you facilitate this interaction on a more trust-based foundation?
That's a good question. It's not as easy So for us, for my experience, is like we try to co-define some goals and co-define some questions. So based on that, then we can have better communications with each other.
You opened saying that goals are important, right, Jan? Otherwise, you don't know what direction you steer towards.
As in all organizations, the goals have to be very concrete, measurable, preferably at least, because otherwise you just, to create a better world. That's not really a goal. That's a vision, and a vision is not the plan. So you need to be very sharp on what you actually want to achieve and when you want to achieve it. And again, from the kind of collaboration that I do, but maybe there are a few touch points.
Thank you. There are more great questions from you in the audience here. What competences and skills do you see as key for graduates? And that can go to any of you here. Please just fire away.
If I may start, just a kind of a short reflection. The discussion, I think, among many of the students, especially, definitely with me and my kids that are in that age, is very much what will happen, not only with the world, where you need to kind of be a bit optimistic because it's so dark, whatever you read, but also on AI, and how will that affect the world, and how will that affect the working life, and how will that affect the opportunities there are for young people. Now, sorry, I forgot your question. But,
what competences and skills? The competences and skills.
Yeah, so I think, from our perspective, working as consultants, and maybe this is probably very different from different regions, but from our perspective, working a lot with consultants, we kind of see that it becomes more and more important to work on your interrelational skills, your EQ, if you want. Mm-hmm. So it's not enough just to be the smartest person in the room. You also, because eventually when you start competing with the best compute power of the world, you will need to be really, really sharp in order to win that competition.
And a computer doesn't have much EQ.
No, exactly. No. If you can combine that decent level of IQ with a decent level of EQ, then you can actually kind of use fantasy and all those things that will be extremely difficult to feed into any LLM that you can ever construct. So I think kind of work on, have fun, go out, party, dance as you did yesterday or whatever, kind of add that to your curriculum, so to speak.
Thank you. And any reflections from the rest of you on this competence and skill question?
Yeah, I guess I can mention, it's important to be curious. And to look at new technology and how you can use it to your own, to your best gain. So I'll give one example. So now we talk a lot of being a computer scientist. So now we talk a lot about programmers. It's a dead end. It's gonna be replaced by AI fully. And I agree that you can do a lot of cool things with AI. But you could also program with AI. You could still be the architect, the designer, the one innovating ideas and so on, and really scrutinize to see if this that we are currently programming and generating using this powerful AI-based programming framework, is this the way that we would like it to be? So I still think that there is an important role for an engineer in that picture. Mm-hmm. Just looking back, computers in the 80s, you were programming on a totally more detailed level than you have been doing for the past, let's say, 20 years. And now we're taking a new leap towards a higher level of abstraction with a powerful tool to create really cool things. And I see it more like it's a value in it, and not necessarily a super threat.
Thank you. And Jan, you mentioned the number of STEM students graduating every year from India. So there's a lot of engineers that are coming out of this wonderful part of the world.
And actually, as an economist, if I were to choose again, I would definitely go into STEM. All the cool things that you see in companies that comes from basic STEM research 20 years back, when you can cure cancer in absolute new ways, when you can, well, there's so many things that you can do now thanks to all those innovations. So to kind of add on those personal skills, I mean, it really is a lot of things happening in technology right now. So if I could start my career over again, I would get a white coat and work in a laboratory.
I think you're quite lucky you did.
Can I add another?
Because we need you in where you are at now.
Can I add another perspective as well? And I mean, I fully agree. But I think to get to these skills, the EQ and the curiosity and the openness to change, I think some of the old skills, like reading, are very important. And I think we see in all the reports, etc., that we are losing those skills. And I don't really see AI or anything else that actually can replace that, because then we also lose a lot of those kind of EQ skills and the imaginative skills that we need to be able to be still relevant.
And also that's where culture plays in, like you mentioned, Jan, to have the broader perspective on education. It's not only just hard facts, but it's also the broader perspective of literature, art, dance, other shapes and forms of culture. So another question from the audience here is, of late, Sweden has been losing competitive edge, especially Swedish students not pursuing higher studies. In 80% of the PhDs in Swedish universities are recruited from outside of Sweden. So I'm turning now to the professors here. Your reflections on these numbers. Are we getting brain drain here, or what's happening? So there's so many foreign PhDs and not so many Swedish students pursuing that level of education. Petra.
That's not so actually in my subject, because we really need the Swedish-speaking PhD students as well to go out in regions and municipalities to meet patients and staff and everything. So it's kind of rare for us to recruit English-speaking students, PhD students. And up till now we have had very many applicants for our positions. So I hope we're not going that way, because in my subject, physiotherapy, I mean, we're just expanding and going up and have more and more scientific educated.
How about Thomas and Heilong?
Yeah, I mean, we recruit in an international space, and the number of available students globally, I mean, Swedes, we're not so many. So it's in some sense it's natural that it's a lot of people from abroad being recruited, but at the same time, we would like to have more of our own engineers and so on continuing also with PhDs. So,
Heilong?
I fully agree. It does be an important or critical problem for us. And actually, it's not only at the PhD level. If we look at like bachelor level or master level, we are also losing students who want to study engineering. So it's kind of society problem, not only for education.
Well, we know for sure that we need more STEM students in general, coming out of the academic world. Another more overarching question here that came from the speakers, the audience. Instead of current crisis, I think this goes to Annika and Jan. Instead of the current crisis, shouldn't we be focusing more on positive narratives within Europe to decrease uncertainty and thereby increase the willingness to invest? That's you, Jan. Yes.
Yeah, in a way I understand the question and I agree with it 100%, and I try to have a kind of positive view on things and try to at least see what is behind all those black headlines. On the other hand, I really think, and I'll ship that over to you then, Annika, but I really think that Europe maybe for too long, or EU, maybe for too long, has been kind of tapping each other's back a little bit too nicely and a little bit too friendly, and we've had all these kind of high-level speeches on fight for democracy and kind of maybe fostered a little bit of a belief that we are maybe a little bit better than both we are and a little bit better than the rest of the world. And I think now that is coming back at us, and I think we need to be a bit kind of self-critical also. To drive change, you need to kind of define first what the issues are and what the problems are, but not forgetting the positive sides. And it's about striking that balance. But unless we define what the real problems are with Europe today, it is difficult to change them. But you're totally right, whomever asked the question, that unless we also remember to also point at the opportunities and the good things with EU, that definitely are a lot, we will not find the energy to drive that change. So we kind of need to combine both. But I think, and right now it's really a lot of EU bashing. We just love to kind of bash ourselves, and that may be a bit too much. But on the other hand, find the kind of the power in that bashing and really start working on those issues. And they are on the table. I mean, both the Letta and the Draghi reports are very clear on the economic side on what we need to do. So basics, just kind of get going and get doing it. But as always, if you want to drive that political change, you need to be very clear with the people of Europe on what it is that you want to fix and why you want to fix it. So it's a combination. I agree with the question, but I think we also need to focus on the bad things.
Thank you. Annika.
Well, you know the old saying, never waste a good crisis. And I think that's really what summarizes very well what the EU is doing. And I think, yes, we have to see what's going on in the world. We would be naive otherwise. But also then see the opportunities of moving away from moving away from our dependency on fossil energy. Well, great opportunities in all kinds. I mean, we heard here, and there are lots of opportunity in that. The whole focus on security. Well, there are lots of opportunities in that as well. I mean, we all of a sudden build our defense industry again, build it up again. And here a lot of research is needed. Here a lot of what we talked about it as well with space, etc. So yes, again, don't waste this good crisis. Make use of it. Don't be naive. We see the risks in the world and the uncertainties, but we can use them.
Thank you, Annika. I'm going to open up the floor to microphone questions because we're not that many, so I think it's going to work. So is anybody not comfortable with Menti who would like to stand up or sit down and ask a question in the microphone? Yes, I think there's a gentleman over here. Introduce yourself, please, and ask. Maybe there's a specific person you'd like to direct the question to.
Yeah. Thanks you all for your contributions, and I have just a question to Annika. Never waste a good crisis, you stated before. But what happens when the fossil fuels are getting cheaper again? Will you pursue the pathway? We should have known earlier that fossil fuel crisis will hit us sooner or later, but the EU and not only the EU but also the member states are having done partly the opposite during the last 10-20 years. How will the EU keep the direction, keep on track for the future then?
It's an Ursula von der Leyen question, but I guess, Annika, you could.
I will. Annika von der Leyen will step in. I mean, it's a perfectly valid question and a good one. Yes. Yeah, I mean, we saw the last mandate of this commission when the Green Deal was the absolutely biggest political priorities, and then I think we had a bit of a backlash. I mean, not from the Commission side, but from the member states side, and of course coinciding with the global situation that we found ourselves in. I think there is still a political will and a political direction, or maybe an impetus saying, well, we don't have a choice. Maybe the speed has slowed down, or not maybe, the speed has slowed down. But again, I mean, we saw it with the Russian invasion of Ukraine when we had the first energy crisis, and then we kind of relaxed a little bit. But saying that, we did learn from it. So the hit now, it's much less severe than it was in 2022. And the reason for the hit being less harsh is because we have a higher percentage of renewables in our systems. We have started to invest in interconnectors. and we have diversified the sources, and particularly we have stopped importing from Russia. So I think we are not the fastest learners. We are not the fastest movers compared to India and others that we have seen, but the pace is slow, but the direction is still relatively clear. So I think we are still going in the right direction. Maybe it's just wishful thinking, but I hope so.
I just came back from Colombia 10 days ago, 2 weeks almost, and there was the Transition Away from Fossil Fuel conference. You probably read about this. The 57 countries represented, and the EU was there, and I had a little bit of a chat with Wopke Hoekstra, the EU Climate Commissioner, and the EU is very committed to this process, which was very hopeful. And now there was 1/3 of the global economies were represented at this conference, and almost 50% of the oil and gas producing countries. So there is some traction in this field, I'd say, and I was happy to see the EU represented there.
I was just thinking another thing, because as Jan said before, actually the industry might be moving faster than the politics on this. And as long as the industry is doing that, the politicians will follow.
There is pressure.
Naturally, just to chip in, if that is to happen, we need to be very careful in the changes we're doing. I think most industry would agree to taking down a little bit of the regulation burden in the European Union. On the other hand, if we stop kind of incentivizing investments into green technology from the political side and from both EU and national governments, we will create big problems, and we will actually indirectly support the old technology, and old technology has never ever been successful in a rapidly developing world. So it's a very delicate balance right now, I think, from the Commission to at least try to power that development.
And the automotive industry is one of the biggest examples of that, of course, that balancing act. So, yes, we have more questions in the microphone. The reason we have Menti is that we also want people online to be you, right? To be able to ask questions, but this works fine too. Here you go.
Hello, everyone. It's quite a well-known fact that corporate lobbies heavily influence EU laws. How do you believe academia can also influence, so that it's not only corporations that make EU, but also us, the people, us, the universities?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. Yes. Who wants to take a bite of that one?
I think it's me.
It's Ursula again.
Speak to me. No, lobbyism has a kind of a bad connotation. Doesn't have to be, because I think that universities are also lobbying, and NGOs are lobbying, and yes, of course, industry might have more money and so to put behind it. But when it comes to the EU, I have to say, compared to the Swedish system of regulating, it's actually very open. I mean, you always have, well, you say, yeah, but it is actually, look into it. Compared to a Swedish system, for example, you have all kind of open consultations online. I mean, for every proposal that the Commission puts forward, they put a consultation online. Everyone can go in. I mean, it's not remissförfarande as in Sweden, where only certain chosen actors are asked to respond. Everyone can respond. Every response has to then be placed online. You can see every response. So you have actually a greater possibility to influence, or to at least make yourself heard. So I think, and there is also the European Commission, who is in charge of proposing or to doing the proposals, or putting forward the proposals. Even though we are often accused of being a large administration, we are not. It's quite a small administration. So therefore, we need the input. And so there's also much more outreach to the research communities, to the NGOs, etc., to actually get the input in a more active way than most governments do, because they have more kind of agencies, etc., on the ground. So yeah, I'm not saying that it's perfect. There is still much that can be done, etc. But there are great possibilities to be heard and to make your voices heard.
Thank you. That's a great question. Input? Yes, please, Petra.
Yes, I think it's really, really important for us at universities to really, really make our voices heard, to spread the word. Because, I mean, we can't stop at scientific publications. Who reads the scientific publications? Of course, maybe the scientific community, but still we have to work beyond that border. So we really have to work with spreading the research results and how to implement the research result. About impact stories, we're working a lot about that at MDU, and we really have to reach out. So that's a responsibility as researchers and universities, I think.
How long, Thomas? You good? Okay.
Can I add just one short
Yes,
perspective? We speak very much on a national level about triple helix, on how to kind of combine government with academia, with business. And I think we should have the same notion, on your question, we should have the same notion on a European level. Now, with the smaller strategic universities network for regional innovative and sustainable evolution, that's a great, great idea. If we could have more of those kind of specific European collaboration areas between universities to kind of team up with the regulators in the Commission and the Parliament and with the big European companies, I think it will be kind of a self-playing lobby. You don't have to go to Brussels and knock on the door and scream your lungs out, but actually come in and say that we need to produce a better Europe together on a long-term scale. That's I think how academia most efficiently can affect European politics.
I'm going to hand over to Professor Uday Salonki from WE School for a question.
Thank you, Katerina. As an Indian, I feel very proud when everyone projected partnership with India is so great, so good. I feel very nice, I'm sure. But I'm sure trust building and relationship takes time. University, India working together, maybe here as well as in our own country takes time. In your opinion, I'm sure everybody in this room would look forward to moving forward for partnership with India, and maybe they will start doing it this week itself or maybe today itself. Which are the top 3 things which you would advise to our audience today, which they should keep in mind while working with India or Indian universities or industry as a partner? Thank you.
Excuse me, the top 3 advices for...
Yeah. What are those 3 steps they should take it, which will expedite the process to work together with Indian industry or Indian universities, whichever other maybe stakeholders?
Thank you. I think that goes to you, Jan.
Well, I guess, first of all, from a Swedish perspective, and I think it's both ways, go to India on vacation. Don't go in July, because that's when the monsoon... I did that mistake. Took my wife to India on vacation. I came in the middle of the monsoon. It was very cheap hotel prices, but we thought we would see the 8,000 meter peaks in the Himalaya, but we only saw rain. So don't go in July, but it's a fantastic country to go to, and you have everything there, from the best beaches you can imagine to the highest peaks you can imagine. So that's one. And why is that important? Because I think we still have so much to do to work with in learning and understanding and get all those prejudice away in understanding our countries. And in order to really build those partnerships and those trust, we need also to start really seeing all the positive things. India is for Swedes super strange, but it's super strange in a super wonderful way if you start getting to know the people in India and the culture in India. So that's one. 2, I think, on what we spoke about before, send your kids to universities in each other's countries, because that is kind of deepening that. Anyone who's just spent a semester in another country at another university, gotten to know each other, gotten to know that culture, will carry that with them, regardless of whether that Swedish engineer stays in India or that Indian engineer stays in Sweden. If you have lived there for a half year, you will really be in love with that culture and people, and that you will carry that through in your professional life. And thirdly, I think is, well, to put it very simple, well, call me, and I will, or my organization will really help and make it easier to take that first step by getting a desk in our office or getting our help to register a daughter company or hire the first salesperson in India or whatever you need. So kind of invest a little bit in trying to take that first step.
And on your map, on the Business Sweden map, you saw there are several offices in India.
Yeah. Three offices in India, and naturally they're all there to foster these, both help Indian companies invest into Sweden and help Swedish companies enter into the Indian market.
We're nearing the end of this wonderful conference, and I know you need to leave 12:30 sharp, Jan. So I have one question for all of you, and I'd like to keep it very brief, your answers very brief. And it's a call to action when it comes to collaboration. From your perspective, you have different perspectives, but what could you sort of inject into the audience here in terms of collaboration on that topic? And you get to start, Jan, because you need to leave.
Okay, thank you. Well, remember the numbers. 15% of global trade is centered around US. That's a big chunk, but it's substantially less than 85%, which is the rest of the world. So together we can, regardless of whatever they make in the US, together we can really build a better future. And that collaboration is essential. So we need to work together.
Thank you. Annika.
Well, I have to take the EU perspective. So depending on who you are, call for action. If you're a student, go on an Erasmus exchange program. If you're a researcher, sign up and do a project with Horizon Europe. If you're anyone else, join any other European cooperation
EU Climate Pact?
Climate Pact, excellent opportunity as well. So just get engaged and get this cross-border trust building going.
Thank you, Annika. Petra?
I think we're co-creating knowledge. Don't guess what the challenges are. Talk to the challenges owners. Don't guess, and don't come on the Friday afternoon with your research application and get a signature from the municipality. Work in advance and be proactive.
Thank you. Great advice. Thomas?
Build some nice sustainable relations with the industry and really try to focus on those matters that are important, not only from an academic point of view, but also for some of these partners that could really create value for our industry in Sweden, of course, but also abroad.
Thank you, Thomas. How long?
For me, we need to take actions. So we should learn by doing. Don't just discuss.
Thank you. To conclude, we have guests for our keynote speakers. Not guests. We have gifts for our keynote speakers. And there's one edible and one very not edible, because it's from Skultuna. You will ruin your teeth. Here's a gift for Annika. You're the external and wonderful keynote speakers. And there's this from the Living Lab here in the building where they grow vegetables. So this might be a nice salad for dinner. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to the panelists, all of the speakers here. Thank you. Well, impressive contributions today too. As we come to the end of this wonderful Global Impact Forum, I'd like to leave you with one reflection. What we have heard here is just not ideas, it is truly connections, and it is in those connections that really collaboration and action happens, right? We really need to be connected to each other, and that's so wonderful with the Sunrise Project and all the other projects that are involved here in this entity that we have met in this Impact Forum. I'd like to extend my profound thank you to the organizers, to the speakers, and also, of course, all of you participants, also online. I know many have been watching online and will be watching the recorded tape here that will be sent out. And I'd like now to introduce Helena Jerigård. Helena, where are you? There, I think she is here somewhere. She just went outside. Oh, I wanted to talk to her. So maybe you will fetch her, Daniel, or Daniel went outside too? I'll go get her. Because she needs to give the final words here. Helena? Probably an emergency. Oh well. Or I'll wait a few seconds. How about you turn to your neighbor and you just ask the neighbor, what are your main takeaways? And like briefly, in a sentence or two, share your main takeaways to your neighbor. You need to hop together. And maybe Helena will come back. 2 minute little bit of a chat with the neighbor. All right. I made a mistake. You always need to admit your mistakes. We are not going straight to Helena. We're going to improvisationsteatern. And that's something that I won't even try to explain in English. So this is going to be self-explanatory. It's an improvisational act. That's going to be fantastic. So let's hand it over to you.
Do I have to switch this on?
No, it's on.
Hello, everyone. I would like to introduce the improvisers duo, Jonas and Matthias, or the other way around. No, Jonas, Matthias, here from Västerås. And they have the task to summarize this conference for us. The floor is yours, guys.
Thank you. We are Jonas, this is Jonas.
And this is Matthias.
And we're really, really bad at first impressions.
So we would like maybe second or third try for the first impression.
So we, yeah, so we suggesting like we go outside.
We'll go,
and when we come in, you can applaud maybe. Is someone whistle? Can someone whistle?
Yeah.
Or really?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
exactly.
that's really good. Can you do that?
Oh my God, poor ear. Sorry,
Oh.
are you deaf now? Someone take it down a little bit.
You know at the football games they do the wave? Could you start the wave? And it goes all the way up there and then back.
Yeah, well, that's nice.
That way it's a whoa! Wow!
Maybe you can faint. Like,
Yeah.
oh, they're here.
Oh, they're finally here. But you don't like us.
No.
You boo us.
Yeah, you can boo us.
Boo!
Yeah.
Boo!
Just you.
Just
no
you.
one. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you
it's
boo,
reality. So.
wave.
No.
Yes. Okay. So we go out,
and then we come in.
and then we come in. So when do we come in?
What?
When do we come in?
Oh, fuck. When you, when he says boo, we come in.
He says boo, we come in. Okay. He says boo, we come in. Okay.
You say boo, we come in, and then wow, maybe.
No, you don't flash.
You
don't flash.
need to flash if you don't really want to.
If you want to, you can flash. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So are you ready, Jonas?
What?
Are you ready?
Yes.
Are the boo guy ready? Okay. Cool.
When he boos, we come in.
Yeah, we come in. Okay.
How does he know?
No,
when
I
to
don't
boo?
know. I did. Did you boo?
Did you boo? No.
No, he didn't boo.
Oh, okay.
So we just wait for
We
the
just
boo.
wait. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Maybe.
Whenever you boo.
Okay, whenever. Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Oh!
No!
Get out! Get out!
What? Get out of here! Come on! You're so kind.
Oh,
do
so
you need
nice.
help? Do you need help?
All right.
Okay.
So nice to be here finally at Global Impact Forum. This is Matthias. Give him a big applause.
And this is Jonas. Give him a little smaller applause.
Thank you.
We're improvisers. We do things without thinking.
How many of you have seen improv comedy before? Say, woo!
Oh,
And
yeah.
some
cool.
people hasn't. Good.
Yeah. Is it someone that never seen improv? Say boo. Okay, I will explain for you so you understand.
Yeah.
Improvised comedy
Yes.
is improvised. We don't know what to say, what to do, or what's going to happen.
No.
Do you understand? Okay.
And sometimes it's maybe funny.
Yeah.
If we're lucky.
Yeah.
But to do so, we might need suggestions from you. You don't have to talk or come up on stage. We would maybe need like example of...
What color is my shirt? Thank you.
What is a beautiful country? India, Sweden. And what is a smell that you don't like? Fish.
Poo.
Good.
Fish poo.
They're really
That's
good.
really disgusting.
Fish poo.
Yeah.
Fish poo in India.
Yeah. It sounds like a feature film.
Yeah. I'm gonna be the star.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do some improv games, and hopefully it's gonna be funny.
Maybe. Okay. So let's start.
Because we don't know you.
Oh, yeah.
You maybe know you.
Yeah. So maybe you can say your name in 3. 1, 2, 3. Lothgar. You're Lothgar.
And where are you from, Lothgar? 1, 2, 3. Barcelona. Oh.
Nice.
Very nice. Lothgar from Barcelona.
Sorry, yes.
No, say you.
Okay.
What do we want to know about Lothgar from Barcelona?
Yeah, I want to know what your preferable drink is. 1, 2, 3. Water. I just hear water.
Yeah, they're boring.
Okay.
Okay. First off, we're gonna do a game we call New Choice. We're gonna use this one, I think.
Oh yeah.
You have been to this conference now for a couple of days, and you talked about the global issues in the world, so on, as I understand it. What would you say is the biggest issue in the world right now?
I hear Trump.
Polarization.
Sorry. Polarization.
What? AI. Polarization, AI. And what did you say, sir? Responsibility. I think polarization is really...
Polar bears?
No, polarization.
Okay, polarization.
It's maybe... We have... who of us do you think, sir, knows least about polarization? Yes,
Jonas,
of course, yeah.
Yes, he knows nothing.
I know nothing.
So
I'm going to be an expert in polarization.
And whenever he says something I'm not happy with, I say new choice, and you have to change that until I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
Okay, take it away. Give him a big round of applause, Mr. Mango.
Hello, Global Impact Forum! Are you ready? I'm just kidding. You don't need to be ready. It's okay to be ready and not to be ready. You can do whatever you want. Very nice to be here.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you tell us about your project, Polarization 2.0?
Yeah. It's a very interesting program that we have discovered in Barcelona with my professor Lagorath, that polarization might be a good thing.
New choice.
Polarization is beautiful.
New choice.
Polarization is like polar bears. You know it, but you don't see it. You know it's there, but is it really there? Have you really seen polarization if you think about it? Like me and my wife, I haven't seen her. But this ring suggests she is there. So how do we work with polarization as a feature, not a bug? Yeah, that is the question.
And what is the answer? You have launched a big book for that?
Yeah, it's more like a pamphlet.
Yeah.
How to see polarization as a feature, not a bug. Don't ask questions.
New choice.
Don't say anything.
New choice.
Don't take a stand. That's the easy part. If somebody asks you, is it pro or pro-Trump? Just don't answer. Just don't take a stand. Are you for global warming? Do you need coffee? Well, that is how we're gonna survive.
And
don't
you have
take a stand against anything about anything unless you don't want to.
Oh yeah, but you have three main. What do you say? Goals.
Goals.
Yes. So what is that? Number one.
No more kids. They are the root cause.
Yeah. Number two.
Instead of sex, use AI, because that's the yeah.
And finally, number three.
If you see a polar bear, run. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Very interesting.
That's really interesting.
Yes.
Maybe you can
write it down.
Write it down. Yeah. Okay. For the next things, we need a phone. Do you have a phone with you? Does someone have a phone? No? No phones?
There we have in the pink.
In the pink. Can we borrow your phone? Can you take a text conversation that we can use that in English English is good.
Really nice.
Big applaud. That's really brave.
So we're gonna use this text in this scene from.
You just choose one of the text. No nudes or something like that. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What's your name? Lion. A big applaud. Yeah. Yes.
You talked about, I guess, a lot of sustainability and so on. What would you say we have too much of in this world that we as humanity could do without? Humans?
Kids. Yeah.
What, kids also? What? Carbon dioxide. I like kids.
Do you like kids?
In a good way.
Okay.
In a legal way.
In a legal way.
Yeah.
You like kids
Yeah.
in a legal way. Okay, thank you. Mm.
Should we use kids?
What, sorry?
Should we use kids?
I do. It was me that said kids.
Sorry,
yeah.
not they. What was the other suggestion?
Humans.
Humans. Okay, we use humans.
We use humans.
Not kids.
Some
humans.
kind of humans.
It's a big
Okay.
difference.
Yes.
So, who of us knows least about humans?
I know nothing. I'm a
Matthias,
polar
no.
bear. My mother was a polar bear, actually.
So Matthias is going to use this text as his script for the next scene. I'm going to talk as I want. He is an expert that somehow use humans in his discovery for his new invention or something.
Yeah.
That here to talk about.
Yes, I'm going to showcase that for you.
Yeah. So a big welcome all the way from Slovenia, Mr. Barakov. It's very, very nice. We talked a lot about on this conference about sustainability, how we as humanity could move forward. And here we have Mr. Baraklov.
Hello.
Hello, yes, thank you. Very nice to see you. I heard you had a big flight, almost missed it.
How did your exam go?
He's my old professor. It went good. It went good. So,
sorry, I worked 10 hours after my exam, and then I slept for 15 hours.
Oh, it's really good. He works hard, as you hear. So, Mr. Baraklov, you have discovered something that you're going to showcase for us that uses humans in a way.
Hard-working girl.
Just hard-working girls.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, not humans, hard-working girls. So in this box, there are hard-working girls in every box. I understand it.
And you?
And me also. Oh, you're gonna sacrifice me too.
Because in Thursday, I slept just for 1 hour.
Yeah, we went out to party, and I'm sorry if I got you drunk, but this invention, so you box in humans, and how is this going to save the world?
I will check mine today.
Okay, check the boxes, check the boxes. Okay, so
I
pack
know.
up the girls.
I know. I know. Why did they change the teacher this time?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Don't worry, I will pray for you.
Well, sorry, are you going to sacrifice the girls and me? Is this how you're going to save the world? You're fucking sick, man. Is this how you work in Slovenia?
Mashallah, be positive. Maybe I pass.
You passed this exam or what? Is this the only way we can save humanity? To kill them or to pack them up and remove them?
This time I will study, I swear.
Yeah, you have to study if you're not sure.
I knew that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Baraklov.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for the text. Very.
Whew.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay.
How long have you, I guess some of you are from Sweden. Can you say, hallå där?
Oh.
And how many are you from the north?
The north?
Yeah, like Scandinavia. I don't know what to ask.
Well, you don't know? Okay.
I will ask. Who have flew the longest? Who took the longest
that
flight
guy.
here?
How long was your flight? 5 hours? It was 2 5-hour flights. Two. I don't understand.
We don't know math.
No, I cannot math. But are you the first time in Sweden? Yes. Is there something you would like to see or experience while you're here? Right now or for the next time? Or is it something you really want to experience or see in Sweden? The what? Oh, the capital, yes.
Yeah.
Stockholm.
Stockholm.
Yeah.
What would you like to see or do there?
Yeah. The people.
The people, the
humans.
humans.
Oh, they suck.
Yeah, they suck. They have a backsleek and bad temper.
But you would like to experience Stockholm? Can you pinpoint something you want to see beside the people and the tourist things? Yeah?
There's nothing happening here.
The nightlife.
Nightlife. Go out.
I heard that
in
Sweden had
Stockholm.
nightlife, but not in Västerås.
No.
Yeah, the nightlife. Yeah, we will do that for you now. If you don't... yeah. So what are we going to do?
We're going to do it. And we ask, what's your name? Joan. And beside you is... Patricia. You're so intelligent and beautiful and good. Could you help us in this next scene?
You don't have to talk.
You don't have to talk. Okay, a
give
big
it an
welcome.
applause.
Sean and Patricia, come here. Come.
That's really brave.
Give it a go. Oh!
We are going to be... Yeah.
Ooh. This is the deal. We're gonna do sightseeing. Who of us knows least about the partying nightlife in Stockholm?
I don't know shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be a party guide for me, and he's gonna be a doll, and you're gonna be his puppeteer. So if he needs to move his head, you move his head. If he needs to raise his hand, you raise his hand. If you leave it, it's gonna stay there. If you put it back, it's back. If you want him to go, you do that, and that, or run. You can have very much fun with him. But remember, the joints only go one way, no matter how hard you try. You understand? And you're gonna do the same for me. Be my puppeteer. Do you understand? You understand? Yes. Good. So, welcome to Stockholm's nightlife.
You can count down from 3 instead of 0. You can say, cheers! 3, 2, 1.
Cheers! Oh, excuse me, sir.
Oh,
hello.
Hello.
I've heard a lot about this nightlife in. Oh, there you are. In Stockholm, and I just want to party all night.
Hello.
And you are the party expert.
I'm the party expert. Yes, that's me. I will show you some moves.
Yeah, is it some dance move that every Swede knows?
Yeah, the first move you do when you go out is like the windmill.
Okay.
And it goes like this. Wah!
Oh, really good. I'm gonna try it.
Thank you. Let me see.
Here it goes.
Oh. No,
this was the monkey, I think. Oh. The cowboy monkey.
Yeah, we call it the Egyptian monkey.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about drinks in...
This is another move.
Yes.
You go like... I can show you again.
Is it called a sex offender?
The cowboy sex offender.
Okay, sorry. Can we have maybe a Swedish drink at the drink table there?
Of course, let me make one for you.
Yes.
This is a table, and this is your drink.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Mm.
How does it feel?
I feel so excited. Really, really good.
Yeah, it's really. I have to stretch a little bit.
I have a question. Just.
No, yes.
I saw a Swede when I came here. Do this.
Do what?
Do this.
What?
I will show you. They did this.
They did this?
At the airport.
Oh.
And what does that mean?
It means that if you're going to entrance this country, you need some gloves.
Okay.
So it's really.
I don't know if I want to party anymore because I don't use light gloves.
Sorry, I have to.
Oh, is it cocaine?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Patricia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey!
While in Sweden.
While in Sweden.
While in Sweden. While in Sweden. Okay.
Swedish cocaine, the best in Scandinavia.
Exactly. For our last bit, we're going to do a presentation that we have Monica. There you are. You're so close. She's prepared a couple of pictures, like 10 pictures. We haven't seen them, but we're going to do a presentation with those pictures. And our question to you is, when you've been in this conference, you've gained a lot of knowledge, I imagine. But is there something you feel that was missing? Something you want to learn more about? You're full. Okay. It's
something that we would like to do a deep dive in. Like when I come home, I will research this even more.
ABBA. So you talked a lot about ABBA here in this conference. I understand. So maybe this is ABBA expert. I don't know. He said that.
He said that?
Huh?
Do you want to know more about ABBA or?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay. ABBA is a big part of the global problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they started it.
Yeah. Waterloo. I just say Waterloo.
Oh, water this and water that. Yeah. So with this, we help with these pictures.
Yes, that's us.
That's
us. Oh, okay. Sorry. Stop.
Stop. We say when you change.
Yeah. We say when you change.
Yeah.
It's your lucky day. We have two ABBA experts here today, and they are called Björn and Benny. Yeah. Give them a big round of applause. Hello. Oh, poof. Oh.
Yeah,
yes, thank you. That's
you.
So kind of you.
Thank you, Mom.
You look a lot like Agneta.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
nice to be back here. We went to universities before and talked about the problems and solutions with ABBA.
Yeah.
You know the music, you don't know the science.
No. They have ruined it all for us.
Yes.
I just say that.
I just say. When we started researching ABBA, the first thing we discovered was disgusting, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about, we lay in bed together. We're also lovers, sorry. Yeah. And we talked about that, and you saw something.
I saw this.
Create the story.
From citations.
Capturing early signs by door. It's lyrics, ABBA lyrics. Have you heard them?
They are the bad songs.
Yeah.
They only got in India. Yes, they didn't want good.
You became so disappointed
obsessed,
and
that I didn't hear this song. So I started researching what more did ABBA do that we as a society doesn't know.
Yeah, they killed JFK.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
And this is the proof.
Yeah. This is the proof.
Next picture.
Next picture. This is the proof. All the crowd.
Yeah. Who went in and said that, no, it wasn't ABBA. It was me. It was me. It was me. The cover-up about JFK.
Exactly. But that is not where it started.
No.
Tell us about the start.
The start about?
About ABBA.
Oh, yeah, it's a fun story. ABBA was actually not a pop band, first of all. It was I can show you.
Yeah.
It was this first.
Yeah, it was just
There was
just was a bearded man
a bearded man
who thought about how
about
can
music,
I?
pop music, Swedish music,
Yeah.
and he went in a lab and experienced, and what would you call them?
Yeah, they did. And ABBA was
born.
there.
So ABBA did the music career, but a lot of people doesn't know that they also went to what you call the radioactive place that exploded.
Chernobyl.
Chernobyl, and did this after their career.
Yeah.
Oh.
Here you see.
They, as I understand the words, this is. Whew!
Yeah.
They saw it blew the roof off.
Yeah, this was the investment before returns. That was exactly what they did at Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or return on investment. That was after Chernobyl.
Yes. So they invested a lot of their money and royalties in
Nuclear.
Yeah. In nuclear war.
Yeah. But one day, this happened.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. They.
Social change happened.
Oh.
The women got voting rights.
The guys went feminists.
Yes. We had, what do you say, preschools for children from the age of 1. And that, from there on, it just went down. And it's ABBA's fault. It's ABBA's fault because of... Yeah.
Robots. ABBA was the first pop band to use robots. You've seen the show in outside London.
Yes.
Just robots, robots, robots.
So why robots, you ask us? Why robots? Because they are robots.
They're not humans.
No.
They are one of many pop bands. It's ABBA, the Rolling Stones,
Yeah,
and other bands I know.
But when we research ABBA, we also find a really funny thing about Agneta. Can you tell us?
Yeah, she's not only a robot and a pop singer, she's also the creator of this. Isn't it wonderful?
Her name is actually Smulan.
Oh, this is Smulan.
Yeah, it's Smulan.
Yeah, but Agneta, what did you say?
Agneta is the inventor of Smulan, but not only Smulan. She invented this thing. This thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The short clip format she invented. A very short form of information that you just...
Yeah. And this is the showcase when they
showed the video first time. It was
exactly.
applauding and everybody was very happy.
Yeah.
And she is now dead.
Yeah, yes, Smulan.
Smulan.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. So we went to, what do you call that place in down under?
Down under, hell?
Australia.
Yeah.
We went to Australia and discovered this.
Yeah, 1 million ABBAs.
Yeah.
Middle of the desert in Australia. ABBA has been around for millions and millions of years, apparently.
They are alpha, they are omega.
Yeah.
And we want to end this.
Yeah, and now
with
this is Björn and Benny right now.
Yeah, they're really old.
They're really old.
Yeah. But we would like to
say thank you for listening to our presentation.
Yeah, but we will sing for you. We will sing the lost ABBA song.
Yes, and this is the lyrics.
This is the lyrics.
Water, health and lifestyle, food, feed. Materials and chemical transportation fuel.
Power and heat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Global Forum Impact, for having us.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you for saving the world. Vi är Jonas och Mattias.
Yes. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Enjoy Västerås.
That was... That was really something, and the most unusual ending of a conference I've ever attended, and I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. Helena Järegård, please join me. So, Helena, you need a microphone. Yes, I do. We're energized.
Yeah, we
and
are
our faces
energized.
might even hurt
Yes,
from all the
yes,
laughing,
yes.
but that's a wonderful sensation.
Yeah.
So, Helena, you've been here 2 days now, of course, and also the first day when I wasn't here, the 19th. So what are your reflections and main takeaways here?
Well, I think the reflection is that I often hear the word that we are like a family, and that's really, really important and fantastic, I would say, that we can meet in this way and to be colleagues. And that's fantastic. And from that ground, I think we can do wonderful things. And I also think about, it has been a lot of things about skills. And for example, Dougald Hein talked about the Techne and Metis.
Metis, yes.
And I think that we really need to be the global citizenships with both those skills. To be like double-handed, because if we only teach in the universities the Techne, we are like one-handed. And with 2 hands, we can also grab friends with 2 hands and to become a community. So I think that's my takeaways. Yeah.
Do you have a specific call to action to send the people away with?
Well, I think we also talked a lot about curiosity, and I think that's important, to always be curious and to find out what is this takeaway for me, to find out and to ask questions. Yeah.
That's always curiosity is key.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Helena, for hosting this magnificent event. And it's going to be lunch now. It's also from the lab, the farm. But before we head out to lunch, there's some information about tonight's events. There's some practical information about the Västerås Concert Hall event. It's a collaboration between Mälardalen University and Västmanlandsmusiken. And this collaboration has resulted in lunch concerts, among others, combined with research presentations also. And it's been both on the campus and also in the concert hall. So those of you that have registered to attend the event tonight at the concert hall, you need to pick up your physical ticket at the registration desk here before you leave in the R building. And for those of you that are planning to remain here on the campus until the concert begins, and it begins at 7 o'clock, at Anja Akelius. Where do we have Anja? Anja? Well, she'll be outside, I'm sure.
Yeah.
She will meet you at 6:15 sharp and lead the walk to the concert hall. And I'd like to extend
at the entrance, I think.
At the entrance, yes.
Right.
At the entrance over here.
The
so
entrance.
those of you staying behind, 6:15 sharp, you will be escorted to the concert.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and by that, I also like to thank you, Katarina.
Oh, I've had fun.
A huge hand. Yeah. It has been wonderful to have you here, and I think you have held on to this program and made it really, really good. So thank you very much, and of course you will also have these gifts. This is actually, as you know, a puzzle piece. So we used to say, it's a puzzle piece from the brass company, old company outside Västerås. If you want to have something from Sweden, this could be Skultuna. They make a lot of brass items and really, really nice things. And this, of course,
this
from the lab.
Great to chew on the train back to Malmö.
Exactly. And thank you all for participating and being so active, and enjoy your trips home. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tack så jättemycket.
Annika, ska du med tåget?